One Piece, the Straw Hat Pirate's Max Level Swordsman. Welcome to Fanfiction Audiobooks. Chapter 1. My name is Dr. D. Ling Tian. On a vast blue sea, a small boat was swaying slowly on the rough sea, as if any wave could overturn the boat. Also sitting on the boat was a man with a slightly mature face, purple hair, and purple eyes, wearing a black and purple windbreaker with the word Ling written on the back, and a black knife on his waist. It has been 3 days since I came to this world. Where on earth is this place? The man looked at the sea in front of him helplessly. 3 days ago, he traveled from a planet called Blue Star. As for how he traveled here, that is paid content. When he traveled through time, he obtained a system and unlocked some abilities in the system gift package. One of them is the knife in his hand, and the other is a kind of spiritual ability. First of all, the knife in his hand is called Lightning, which is a special weapon called a sealer. It seals 9 abilities, but if you want to unlock the seal, you must use special items to unlock it. Secondly, his spiritual arts is a special ability that has the ability to attack, defend, bind, heal, and seal. This damn world has nothing but the endless ocean. The man was speechless. He wouldn't be the first one in the time-traveling legion to die of boredom, would he? Just as he was complaining, a huge ship came towards his small boat from a distance. "Captain, a small boat is spotted ahead." "Small boat? Come over and take a look," a man with messy hair and wearing a coat ordered. Mom, is there only one person?" "Bread, bring me some cake." "Yes, Lingling." These 2 people are the future 4 emperors Big Mom, Charlotte Linlin, and his chef, Baker. The man sitting in the small boat looked up and saw 10 people standing on the boat. They were, Captain Rox, 2 of the future 4 emperors, Big Mom Charlotte Linlin, Whitebeard Edward Newgate, Golden Lion Shiki, John, Wang Ji, Silver Axe, Bakingum Stussy, Long Bread, and a completely unfamiliar beauty. "Rox Pirates, is this the pirate world?" Ding! It is detected that the host is about to have his first battle. All body attributes will be increased by 300%, and the duration will be 5 days. Are we going to start fighting? Ha 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 ha, let me destroy him. The Golden Lion Shiki flew to the front of the boat. Chopping wave Golden Lion Shiki swung the knife in his hand and slashed out several sword energies to attack the man. "Spiritual art. Defense. Water shield," the man whispered. The water on the sea seemed to have life and formed a shield to protect the man. The Golden Lion's sword energy fell on the water shield like a drop of water entering the sea, without causing any ripples. Spiritual art attack Blue Sea 100 spears. After using water escape to defend against the Golden Lion's attack, long spears condensed from the sea water and attacked the Golden Lion. "Ha ha ha ha, what an interesting little devil. Lion Senkurai Tani." The Golden Lion continued to swing the sword in his hand, emitting sword energy to destroy the spear of the sea. As expected of the great pirate Golden Lion, I can't hurt him with this ordinary ability. It seems I have to use some other means. P.S. Double quotes represent the dialogue between characters, while single quotes represent the character's psychological activities. "Gui Ning, release me," the man stood up and said softly. Boom! A huge amount of energy burst out from the man. This was the ability to unlock the first layer of the seal of the sealer, which could increase speed by 80%, strength by 50%, sword skills by 30%, and special abilities by 10%. And this is the state that is superimposed again after the system has increased it by 300%. At the same time, the man's left foot was covered with purple armor. "Ha ha ha ha, let me see what you can do." The power of the lion, Imperial Palace Scroll. A giant lion's head came towards the man. Boom! The lion head completely destroyed the boat, and the man seemed to have been sunk to the bottom of the sea by the Golden Lion's skills. "Ha ha 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 ha, is it just this extent?" Ichideo style, sword flash. A sword light slashed out from behind the Golden Lion, but the Golden Lion, who possessed the observation haki, had already noticed it and dodged it with a flash. What a fast speed! Whitebeard watched the battle and thought, "That kid is so fast. And that man was able to take on so many moves from Lord Golden Lion. Observation haki? Then try this move. It's sword style 1 sword 1000 slashes sun and moon wheel." A dense array of flying slashes slashed towards the Golden Lion Shiki. Such a dense array of flying slashes. The Golden Lion couldn't help but be surprised when he saw so many flying slashes. Even he might not be able to dodge all of them. "Lion Senkurai Tani." The Golden Lion also had to swing his double swords and perform a flying slash to offset the man's flying slash. Countless flying slashes exploded in the air. The two people's flying slashes were exactly the same, even the attack speed was exactly the same. That guy's attack speed is exactly the same as that of Lord Golden Lion, and judging by the guy's appearance, it's probably only around 15 or 6. Ha 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 ha, boy, do you want to be my subordinate? I refuse. After all, you don't look that great. Ha 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 ha, little devil, do you know who I am? How dare you reject me? Seeing that the man looked down on him, the Golden Lion decided to show this little brat some of his real skills. That's enough, Shiki, bring that brat down here. At this time, Rox said. Cut. Although Golden Lion was very unhappy with Rox's orders, he could not beat Rox and could only obey. When the man heard what Rox said, he put away his knife and jumped onto Rox's boat. Boy, you are amazing, what's your name? Rox spoke while sitting in his special seat, his aura attacking the man, and the man felt that even breathing was a little difficult. Is this Rox? I don't have the strength to resist him at all. Ling Tian, my name is Dr. D. Ling Tian. D. Interesting kid. Ling Tian, get on my ship and sail on the sea as part of the Rox pirates. Rox stood up from his exclusive throne and invited Ling Tian. Okay, I'll get on your boat then. Anyway, Ling Tian can't beat Rox now, so it's better for him to stay on his ship. He will be defeated by Garp and Roger in the future, so he can just get off the ship then. Wah ha 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 ha. I am the captain of the Rox pirates, Rox D. Jibek. Rox suddenly laughed and introduced himself. Golden Lion Shiki. The Golden Lion who had just fought with Ling Tian also introduced himself. Although there was no need for him to introduce himself, after all, they were on Rox's ship and even the captain introduced himself, so as crew members they had to give the captain some face. Although they all boarded Rox's ship because they could not defeat him, in this world the strong are respected, so they can only blame themselves for not being strong enough. Edward Newgate. A huge man with long blonde hair and a crescent-shaped beard spoke. This person is the future 4 emperors, Whitebeard Edward Newgate. Charlotte Lingling. A beautiful woman also spoke up. It must be said that Charlotte Lingling was very beautiful when she was young. I really don't know how the future aunt would become like that. John. Wang Ji. Silver Axe. Flame Flower. Another beautiful woman whom Ling Tian had never seen before spoke. Fire Flower? Who is it? Is there such a person in the Rox Pirates? Ling Tian nodded as a greeting. After all, in the Rox Pirates, either you have the ability to become a member, or you don't have the ability to become cannon fodder. After Ling Tian got on the boat, Rox arranged a room for Ling Tian and continued sailing. Listening to the conversation between Rox and the others, Ling Tian knew that Rox and the others were going to a place called Winter Island, where the thing Rox wanted to take was located. As for what it was, neither Ling Tian nor even Edward Newgate knew. Ling Tian didn't care and just returned to his room. Chapter 2 How to Unlock the Next Ability. Ding! Congratulations to the host for joining the Rox Pirates. Now you can find out how to unlock abilities. Please open the attribute panel to check for yourself. Properties panel. Host, Dr. D. Ling Tian. Ability. Sealing device, lightning. The first seal, Gui Ning, unlocked. Second seal, Under the Moon, requires a devil fruit to unlock. The third seal, Savagery, unlock the previous seal to see how to unlock it. Fencing. Complete works of one sword style, LV1, 50 sword skill points are required to unlock the next level. Complete collection of 2 swords, not unlocked, need to have a second supreme sword or a weapon higher than the supreme sword to unlock. Spiritual skill, LV1, 50 spiritual points are required to unlock the next level. 3 colors domineering. Armament Haki, not unlocked, requires 20 spirit points to unlock. Observation Haki, not unlocked, requires 20 spirit points to unlock. Conqueror's Haki, not unlocked, requires 30 spirit points to unlock. Sword skill points, 0, 5 sword skill points can be obtained by swinging the sword times a day. Spirit points, 0, 2 spirit points for each hour of training. Note, the time spent swinging the sword is also counted as training time. Seeing this, Ling Tian went out and started swinging his sword. 1, 2, 3, 567. 568. 569. Gu la 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 la. Boy, I'm training. Yet, after all, we're on the same ship with monsters like you, Newgate, so we have to become stronger. Gulala, boy, there's no need to underestimate yourself. At your age, even I may not have the ability you have. Maybe, but in this world, no one cares whether you are a child or not. Boy, what is your dream? Why do you want to become so powerful? Newgate sat on the deck and watched Ling Tian swinging his sword and couldn't help but speak. Dream? I don't know. Becoming stronger is just for survival. Ling Tian waved the knife and recalled the scene in the original owner's memory where pirates burned, killed, and looted on the island, and couldn't help but speak. To be honest, if it weren't for the fact that Rox was so powerful, Ling Tian would never have joined Rox pirate group. After all, the Rox pirates were not good people. Burning, killing and looting were led by the Rox pirates. In this era, the pirates were basically led by the Rox pirates. Newgate, what is your dream? Me? I just want my family. Family, hey. As expected, Newgate is still the Whitebeard who fights for his family. 3 days later. Ling Tian trained 10 hours a day and gained 60 spirit points and 15 sword skills. Ling Tian used 40 spirit points to unlock the armament haki and observation haki, and today Ling Tian only spent an hour swinging the sword and gained 5 sword skill points and 2 spirit points. Because the Rox pirates have arrived at the Winter Island, and not only them, but even the Navy has arrived at the Winter Island. On the Navy's warships are, Vice Admiral Garp, Lieutenant Admiral Sengoku, Lieutenant Admiral Zephyr, and other Vice Admirals. Ha 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 ha, Zhangguo, why isn't that old brat Kong here? Aren't you afraid that I will kill you? Rox shouted at Zhangguo from the bow of the ship. Rox, we don't need our Marshal Kong to take action against you. I will defeat you. Garp shouted at Rox before Sengoku could even speak. At this time, Garp was still young and full of vigor, and he was fearless. Ha 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 ha, Garp, you think you can kill me with just a little brat like you? You guys are overestimating your abilities. Little ones, grab them all. Without waiting for Sengoku and the others to reply, Rox gave the order. Ha 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 ha. Shiki relied on the power of the float fruit and rushed forward first. Chopping. Shiki swung his slashing sword directly at Sengoku, but a lieutenant general jumped out and blocked his slashing sword. Golden Lion, your opponent is me. The lieutenant general used the moon step to fight the Golden Lion, and it was difficult to separate. As for Rox, he was dealt with by Garp and Sengoku, Newgate was blocked by Zephyr, Linlin was held back by 2 vice admirals, and the others were also held back by their respective navy. Finger gun. A lieutenant colonel attacked Ling Tian using the Navy 6 styles. Spiritual art, attack, hurricane. A small tornado deflected the finger gun and attacked the colonel. Iron block. The colonel shouted and squatted in horse stance without moving. The hurricane had no effect on the colonel. After all, it was only a level 1 spiritual technique, which was useless to a colonel of the Marine headquarters. But at this moment Ling Tian quickly got behind the colonel. Its sword-style flowing light. Ling Tian held a knife with a pitch-black blade and slashed at the colonel with several sword skills that looked like flowing light. Puff! A few streaks of light instantly cut the colonel into pieces. Facing the slash covered with armament color, the colonel did not put up any resistance at all. Boy, take this punch from me. When Garp saw that Ling Tian actually killed a colonel in a short time, he became furious instantly. He handed Rox to Zhangguo and directly attacked Ling Tian with a punch. Warring States period. Gui Ning, release. Its word style, secret technique, Ichiriakuri Senryu. Seeing Garp attacking, Ling Tian immediately used the secret of the Itsuki style, trying to buy himself time to dodge Garp's attack. However, the attack covered with armament haki could not even break through Garp's physical defense. After all, Ling Tian's armament haki and sword skills were only at LV1. Seeing that his attack didn't stop Garp for even a second, Ling Tian used his sword to block Garp's attack. When Garp's fist hit the lightning, and Garp took a few steps back, while Ling Tian directly hit the wall of the warship. What a hard sword! It couldn't even break my fist. Boom! Ling Tian broke through the wall that was pressing down on him, and suddenly saw a devil fruit rolling to his feet. Ling Tian picked up the devil fruit at his feet. Ding! a devil fruit is detected on the host. Use the devil fruit to unlock the second seal of the sealer, Under the Moon. Unlock. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the second level of the sealer, Under the Moon. Boy, what are you mumbling about there? What do you think? Let me see the strength of the Vice Admiral of the Navy. Under the Moon, solution. Boom. Ling Tian's feet were covered with purple armor. The second seal of lightning, Under the Moon, increases speed by 100%, strength by 50%, sword skills by 30%, special abilities by 10%, and unlocks the ability, Shadow Under the Moon. Yuexia Huaying, can create 100 physical clones. The clones can attack enemies, but enemies cannot attack the clones. What a strange boy! Punch me again! Garp saw Ling Tian's transformation and his fist was covered with pitch-black armament color domineering. Steel bone, breaking air strike. An air cannon fired towards Ling Tian. Itoryu, willow slash. Ling Tian dodged Garp's attack as if teleporting, and continued to slash at Garp, whipping him like a willow branch. However, even such intensive attacks could not break Garp's defense. Annoying flies. Cyborg Jedi. Garp punched Ling Tian's sword. Although Ling Tian was very fast, Garp's observation haki was also top-notch. He instantly predicted Ling Tian's next move. Although Ling Tian's observation haki was not as strong as Garp's, it could still block Garp's attack to some extent. After all, Ling Tian's special ability has increased by 20%. However, although Ling Tian blocked Garp's attack, he was not feeling well either. Even though Garp's attack hit the lightning, most of the attack was absorbed by the lightning, but a small part of the impact still hit Ling Tian directly. Ahem, you are indeed a Vice Admiral of the Navy, you are really amazing. Ling Tian half knelt on the deck and coughed. With only 2 small impact punches, Ling Tian felt as if all the bones in his body were broken. As expected of Garp, who will be called the hero of the Navy. Garp, why haven't you solved it for so long? At this time, Sengoku jumped to Garp's side and spoke. Ling Tian saw Zhang Guo coming over and looked around, only to discover that Rox had disappeared. Sengoku, why are you here? Where is Rox? Garp asked when he saw Sengoku coming over, although he was still in a fighting stance. Rox ran to Winter Island. I was afraid of an ambush, so I came here first to help you deal with this guy and track down Rox together. Zhang Guo also explained. By the way, why does it take you so long to deal with even a little kid? This guy is no ordinary kid. He is very fast and his sword is very strong. He was unharmed even after 2 of my punches. I'm afraid it must be a very strong sword. Garp also explained to Sengoku. In that case, let's kill him together. With such talent at such a young age, he will definitely become a threat to our navy in the future. What? You two want to kill me here? You are dreaming. Ling Tian laughed. Shadows under the moon. Ling Tian shouted softly, and 100 clones surrounded Garp and Zhang Guo. Is this a devil fruit user? Zhang Guo muttered as he looked at the 100 clones. The 100 clones used all kinds of sword skills to attack Sengoku and Garp without any nonsense. Ling Tian's goal was to delay the 2 of them. As long as he could delay them until Rox came back, he would be safe. He believed that with the strength he had revealed now and his age, Rox would definitely not ignore it. He was gambling that Rox would keep him safe. 100 clones attacked Garp and Sengoku with all kinds of sword skills, but it was to no avail. Garp had a strong physique to begin with, and he was fine even if he was slashed in the chest without any defense, not to mention when he was concentrating. As for Sengoku, the defense of the animal-type human fruit mythical beast Great Buddha form is also extremely amazing, comparable to that of Garp without activating armament haki. Steel bone crushing fist. When Garp saw a clone attacking him, he immediately attacked the clone because he was keenly aware of the clone's murderous intent. But when Garp attacked the clone, he passed through it, and the clone's attack did not hit Garp. This guy's ability is really weird, just like a demon. They can hit us but we can't hit them. Moreover, this guy's speed and sword skills should not be underestimated. Chapter 3 Kaido goes on board. Damn it, why hasn't Rox come back yet? Ling Tian couldn't help but curse in his heart. His clones were completely powered by his physical strength. Although his physical strength was not bad, it was a bit too much for him to use 100 clones at once. Ling Tian estimated that he could only hold off Garp and Sengoku for about 10 minutes at most, by which time he would be completely unable to move due to exhaustion. Zhang Guo and Garp were completely helpless under the attack of Ling Tian's 100 clones. After all, they couldn't hit Ling Tian's clones at all and could only defend passively. Just like that, 10 minutes passed. It's over. Ling Tian had a thought in his mind, and now 10 minutes had passed, and all his clones disappeared in an instant. Whoosh! Ling Tian held the sword in his right hand and inserted it into the deck, half squatting and breathing heavily. Now he didn't even have the strength to stand up. Boy, it seems that your ability is only limited to 15 minutes. Die, kid! Garp clenched his fists and flew towards Ling Tian. It's over. Kapu, forget it. Although Newgate was fighting with Zeta, he was also paying attention to the situation on Ling Tian's side. When he saw that Ling Tian actually blocked Garp and Sengoku alone, he couldn't help but be shocked. But then Ling Tian was seen half-crouching on the deck exhausted. Seeing this, Newgate concentrated the power of the tremor fruit on the Kusukimi-ri, and with one sword, he shook Zephyr away and then jumped in front of Ling Tian, covered with armament color. Blocked Garp's attack and shook Garp away. Thanks, Newgate. Gulala, kid, just stay aside. I'll take care of this. Newgate, are you too arrogant? Do you want to deal with the three of us alone? Zephyr also jumped to the side of Sengoku and Garp and spoke. Gulala, let's give it a try. As he spoke, Newgate gathered the energy of the tremor fruit into Kusukumokuri, swung it forward, and the space in front of him cracked like glass. In an instant, the surrounding waves began to roll. Newgate, you are crazy. As a devil fruit user, you will also sink into the sea. Zifa was surprised when he saw this scene. Gulala, I won't play with you anymore. Newgate picked up Ling Tian and laughed. Wait, kid, what's your name? Cap couldn't help but shout when he saw Newgate was about to leave. Ling Tian, my name is Dr. D. Ling Tian. Ling Tian spoke in Newgate's arms. Ling Tian, I will remember you. Newgate picked up Ling Tian and jumped back to Rock's boat, shouting at the Golden Lion. Ski. I see. When Ski saw Newgate use the tremor fruit, he was ready. Although neither of them was willing to submit to the other, they still had some tacit understanding after being on the same ship for so long. Viper. With a low roar, Rock's ship floated up, and those who had fought with the navy before returned to the ship when Newgate used the tremor fruit. As for those who did not return to the ship, they were just a group of cannon fodder. Wahahahahahahaha. At this moment, Rox also jumped up carrying a little devil. At this time, Ski had already flown the boat to a height of more than 50 meters. Rox actually jumped up with one jump, and he was carrying a person. Yoshi, Shiki, let's get out of here. Rox jumped onto the boat and spoke to Shiki. I see. At this time, Ling Tian had been placed by Newgate against the wall of the deck. He told Newgate that he was just exhausted, so he didn't need to go back to the room to lie down. Ling Tian also saw clearly the person that Rox brought back from the Winter Island. He turned out to be Kaido, one of the 4 emperors in the future. However, Kaido at this time had not eaten the fish fruit, so there was nothing special about him except that he was a bit burly. Navy side. Did Rox and the others escape? A burly man with spike-shaped white hair and wearing a Navy Marshal's coat spoke up. This man is the current Navy Marshal, Kong Gang. Yes, after Rox ran into Winter Island, Garp and I were stopped by a little devil. Zhang Guo felt a headache when he thought of Ling Tian. Kid. If that little devil hadn't used his strange abilities, I could have killed him with just one punch. Garp said as he picked his nose. Garp, you bastard. Zhang Guo got angry when he heard Garp say this, but it was not because Garp was angry and ran to deal with Ling Tian, and Rox could not run away. For Sengoku, there will definitely be casualties when the navy fights pirates, so it is normal for a few colonels to die. After all, they are fighting against the Rox pirates. Let alone a colonel, even a vice admiral would be normal to Sengoku. Even Sengoku himself had already prepared himself to die in battle. Okay, warring states. Kong Kong interrupted Zhang Guo's words. The next thing we need to do is to stop Rox. I'm afraid Rox's goal is the Valley of Gods. God's Valley? Could it be that guy wants to attack the celestial dragons? When Sengoku heard the words God's Valley, he immediately thought of the celestial dragons. I'm afraid so. After all, Rox is from the D clan. Zhang Guo pondered for a while and suddenly remembered, oh, that kid seems to be from the D clan too. Oh, you mean the kid who stopped you in Garp is also from the D clan? Yes, his name is Dr. D Ling Tian. Garp also echoed. Then let's issue a bounty for that brat. Let's start with 1 million berries for the first bounty, since they are the crew members of that man. Steelbone Sora thought for a while and said to Warring States. I see. The next day. On board rocks. Hello, Ling Tian. When Ling Tian was swinging his sword, he heard Newgate calling him. Ling Tian turned his head and saw Newgate holding something in his hand and waving at Ling Tian, motioning Ling Tian to come over. What's up, Newgate? Ling Tian walked over and asked puzzledly. Look. Newgate handed the newspaper in his hand to Ling Tian. Ling Tian looked at the newspaper and read softly. Captain of the Rocks Pirates, Rocks D. Jaibeck, bounty 55 billion berries. Rocks Pirates crew member, Whitebeard Edward Newgate, bounty 28 billion berries. Rocks Pirates crew member, Big Mom Charlotte Linlin, bounty 26 billion berries. Rocks Pirates crew member, Golden Lion Shiki, bounty 26 billion berries. Rocky Pirates crew member, John, bounty 19 billion berries. Rocks Pirates crew member, Wang Ji, bounty 18 billion berries. Rocks Pirates crew member, Silver Axe, bounty 16 billion berries. Rocks Pirates crew member, Flame Flower, bounty 15 billion berries. Congratulations, Newgate, your bounty has increased again. In this world, the strength of pirates is measured by the size of their bounties, but this is not always the case. Some pirates have high bounties simply because they have committed many evil deeds. Gulala, look at this one, kid. Newgate pointed to a reversed bounty order and said. Ling Tian returned the wanted poster to him without knowing why. When he saw the words on it, he instantly became excited. It was written on it, Rocks Pirates crew member, Speed Sword Ghost Dokali D Ling Tian, bounty 1 million berries. This is my bounty. Ling Tian laughed while holding the bounty order. After all, having a bounty order means that Ling Tian's strength has been recognized by the Navy. Gulala, it seems the Navy has also seen your abilities. Although there is still a big gap between you and Newgate, it is still a good start. After chatting for a while, Ling Tian continued to train. After all, this was the only way for him to become stronger. Of course, he could use devil fruits, but devil fruits were not so easy to obtain. Although there are a lot of devil fruits in the original work, he doesn't have any devil fruits now, so he can only train. Your name is Ling Tian, right? Kaido walked over and looked at Ling Tian who was training and spoke. Who are you? The boy the captain brought back yesterday. Ling Tian looked at Kaido and spoke. Although Ling Tian knew Kaido's name, Rocks did not mention Kaido's name when he came back, so it would be better for him to pretend that he didn't know. After all, the water in the Rocks pirate group is very complicated and it is not something he can control. My name is Kaido, I want to fight you. Kaido picked up a mace made of unknown material and placed it on his shoulder, looking full of fighting spirit. What? Teacher Kai wants to fight me? Then I will be like Luffy, 1 stick of Ryuo, 2 sticks of Tyrant, 3 sticks of Awakening. When Ling Tian was thinking about it, he looked at Kaido and suddenly remembered that they were now on Rock's ship. Let alone Ryuo and Hashin, it was still unknown whether Kaido could have the armament color now. Kaido, do you know the haki of armament? Ling Tian asked Kaido with a little curiosity. What is armament color? Kaido was confused. What the hell was that? What was armament color? He had never heard of it before. As expected, Kaido doesn't know how to use armament haki right now. You'll see. Ling Tian stretched out his right hand for Kaido to look at, and then a layer of pitch black armed color domineering wrapped around Ling Tian's right hand. This is armament haki. What's the use of this? Kaido was still puzzled when he looked at Ling Tian's right hand, which seemed to be covered with a layer of black paint. Alas, Mr. Kai has seen too little now, just like a child who has just started out and knows nothing about the world. You hit my right hand with your mace. Ling Tian did not explain anything about this, but let Kaido see it with his own eyes. Are you sure? Kaido looked at Ling Tian with a bit of disbelief and asked. Kaido now is not the 4 emperors in the future. He is still very simple now. He just wants to fight with Ling Tian to prove to the people on the boat that he is not bad. He does not want to hurt Ling Tian. Just come on, it's okay. Ling Tian couldn't help laughing when he saw Kaido looking reluctant to attack. I never thought that Kaido, the future king of beasts who is known as the Emperor of the Sea, would have such a side to him, Chapter 4 Guiding Kaido. Then I'm coming, Kaido raised his mace and asked. Come on, Ling Tian said. Kaido didn't think about it after seeing this. At worst, he would just hurt Ling Tian and take care of him for the rest of his life. Kaido raised his mace and smashed it towards Ling Tian's right hand with all his strength. Boom! There was only a loud bang and Ling Tian's right hand was intact, but Kaido was sent flying backwards because of the impact. Others heard the sound and looked over. Why did the new guy fight with Ling Tian? How could that boy be Ling Tian's opponent? That's right, Ling Tian is a man who is equally matched with Lord Shiji. How can a boy who just went to sea be Ling Tian's opponent? Because when they saw Ling Tian was sitting in a small boat, so most people assumed that it was not Ling Tian's first time to go out to sea, and Kaido was brought back by their captain Rocks, so everyone just thought that Kaido was someone who had just gone out to sea. When Shiki heard their conversation, he almost wanted to fly over and grab the crew member by the collar to tell them, I'm just giving in to that kid. If I get serious, that kid is nothing. At that time, Shiki thought that it would be a bit embarrassing to do so, so he could only turn his head away silently. So hard. Kaido got up and shook his numb hands. Now you know the function of armament haki, right? Ling Tian said to Kaido with a smile, armament haki can strengthen your defense, and it can also cover your weapons to increase your attack power. That's awesome. Brother Ling Tian, can you teach me? Kaido said to Ling Tian excitedly. Big brother? Teacher Kai actually called me big brother, are you kidding me? Yes, I can teach you armament haki. Ling Tian thought about it and agreed happily. In fact, it was not that he wanted to agree, but the system suddenly gave him a task. Ding! The system issues a task, guide Kaido to master the 3 colors of haki. Each time you master a type of haki, you will receive 200 sword skill points and 200 spirit points. A full 600 sword skill points. This is the reward you can get after 120 days of training. Yoshi Kaido couldn't help but get excited when he heard Ling Tian was willing to teach him. Tisk, you don't even have the arrogance. I really don't know why the captain let you on board. Golden Lion Shiki couldn't help but complain when he heard the conversation between Ling Tian and Kaido. Gulala, after all, he's just a kid who just went out to sea, so it's normal that he won't be domineering. Newgate took a sip of his wine and laughed heartily. In this way, Ling Tian has been guiding Kaido to practice haki these days. It must be said that Teacher Kai has a very high talent for haki. In just 3 days, Kaido has initially mastered the armament haki. Although I haven't been able to cover my entire arm with armament haki yet, I should be able to do it in a few days. Captain, a pirate ship has been spotted ahead, shouted a crew member at the lookout. Wahahahahaha, guys, go shoot them all. At Rox's command, the miscellaneous soldiers of the Rox pirates rushed forward. As for the likes of the Golden Lion, they had no intention of going up to rob. After all, it was just an ordinary pirate ship, not a pirate group like the Roger Pirates. They had no interest in it at all. It seems like there are some good people here. Kaido, do you want to try out the results of your training these days? Ling Tian looked at the pirate ship opposite and released his observation domineering and couldn't help but speak to Kaido. Ling Tian used his observation haki to discover that there was a guy on the opposite side whose strength was similar to Kaido's current strength. Although such a guy is not enough to attract the attention of people like Golden Lion, he is just right for Kaido now. Okay, let them see the results of my training these days. Kaido picked up the mace and jumped to the pirate ship opposite. Ling Tian also jumped over when he saw Kaido's appearance. Although the guy opposite was similar to Kaido, it was hard to say whether Kaido now would be as reckless as Jack in the future. After all, Kaido now was young and energetic and had never experienced jail time. Ling Tian jumped onto the pirate ship opposite and saw Kaido confronting a man in samurai attire with a knife on his waist. My name is Yangzide Mingzi, and I am the captain of the sword pirates. The man introduced himself. Whoever you are, take my stick. Kaido didn't even say a word to Mingzi and just jumped over and hit him with a stick. Unfortunately, as Mingzi was a swordsman, his speed must be quite fast, and he dodged Kaido's attack with just a jump back. Ichisatsu, draw the sword. Mingzi drew his sword and swung it at Kaido, only to see a flash of sword light hit Kaido and knocked him back several steps. Sure enough, Kaido's speed is a flaw now. Ling Tian couldn't help but think as he watched their fight that Kaido now no longer possessed the top-level observation haki like before and was no longer able to predict things in advance. Hateful. Kaido launched continuous attacks on Mingzi. Kaido knows that speed is his weakness, but physical strength is his strength. As long as he can exhaust the opponent's physical strength, he will be the winner. But the imagination is beautiful, but the execution is not so good. Mingzi is not a fool, he can think of what Kaido can think of. After that, Mingzi just dodged every attack from Kaido. This guy is very strong, and there's another guy next to him who's watching closely. I can't run away. It seems like I can only fight to the death. Mingzi thought as he dodged Kaido's attack. You dare to be distracted when fighting with me? You are really looking for death. Kaido was furious when he saw that the opponent was distracted, and he attacked Mingzi with all his strength. Although it didn't hit Mingzi, this powerful blow directly broke the sword pirate's pirate ship in half. What a terrifying power! Mingzi couldn't help but be surprised when he saw this scene. Although he could cut the pirate ship in half with a full-strength attack, this was only possible because of the sword skills he had practiced hard day and night, while Kaido obviously did it only with his own physical strength. Itaryu Tiger Leap. Mingzi pushed Kaido back with one sword, and at the same time put some distance between himself and Kaido. I know I can't escape this time, but before that, please show me my strongest sword skills that I have been training for a long time. As Mingzi spoke, purple mist emerged from his body, and then the purple mist returned to the knife in Mingzi's hand. This is the life energy of that swordsman. The golden lion could tell at a glance that Mingzi's purple energy was the atomized form of his life energy. Not only golden lion, but also other people who did not participate in the battle but were watching it could see it. Of course, Ling Tian was not included. After all, Ling Tian's current eyesight was not enough to see through life energy. Its sword style, secret technique, sword body. A huge slash came towards Kaido. Facing this slash, Kaido's intuition told him that he would die if he took it, but it was impossible for him to dodge this slash with his speed. Kaido could only hold the mace in his hand against his chest, trying to reduce the power of the blow in this way. Spiritual Art Defense Optical Drive. Although Ling Tian didn't know what the purple mist was, he could feel the power of this slash. He naturally wouldn't just ignore it. After all, he is Kaido's elder brother now. Countless rays of light turned into 3 light shields blocking Kaido. Click! 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 3 crackling sounds were heard, and Ling Tian's light shield was instantly destroyed. This was because this move originally required charging, but Ling Tian used it instantly, and it was only a LV1 spiritual technique, so it was naturally vulnerable. Ling Tian naturally knew that he could not block this move, and his purpose was to reduce the power of this blow. Click! Boom! Gudong! Kaido's mace was instantly shattered into pieces by the slash, and Kaido himself was knocked into the sea by this move. Spiritual Art, Assisted Wind. Gentle breezes brought Kaido out of the sea, and there was a huge sword scar on Kaido's chest, extending from his shoulder to his waist. Even with such a large sword mark, it only knocked Kaido unconscious. This made Ling Tian sigh that he was worthy of being the strongest creature on land, sea, and air in the future, and his physical body was indeed strong. My strongest attack can only knock him out? I lose. Mingzi looked at the unconscious Kaido and shook his head with a bitter smile. Then all we saw was Mingzi's skin aging instantly, and finally his skin turned to ashes, leaving only a pile of bones, a knife and a devil fruit. Ling Tian picked up the knife and the devil fruit. Ding! A devil fruit is detected on the host. Do you want to use the devil fruit to unlock the next seal of lightning? Ding! The host's devil fruit is detected to be animal type fish fruit mythical beast blue dragon form, triggering the selection task. Task 300, absorb the devil fruit of the animal system, fish fruit, mythical beast, blue dragon form, and change the plot of One Piece. Reward, 300 sword skill points spirit points. Task 300, according to the original plot, give Kaido the animal type fish fruit, mythical beast type, blue dragon devil fruit. Reward, 300 sword skill points spirit points and open the lucky draw store. I choose 2. When Ling Tian saw this scene, he made a choice without thinking. Although the rewards for the 2 choices were similar, the second one also came with the opening of a lottery shop. Besides, as Kaido was his younger brother, it was reasonable for him to give the devil fruit to Kaido. Ding! Congratulations to the host for making the choice. Reward, 300 sword skill points 300 spirit points. Ding! The lottery store has been opened, please check it yourself. Warm tips, please do as you choose. If the host absorbs the devil fruit, the system will reclaim all of the host's abilities. Ling Tian didn't feel anything when he saw the system's prompt. After all, as long as he did what he chose, there would be no problem. After reading the system's prompts, Ling Tian used spiritual techniques to bring Kaido back to the Rock's pirate ship, and then sent Kaido back to Ling Tian's bed and bandaged him. Because Kaido is just an ordinary crew member now, Kaido's room is the same as other ordinary pirates. After all, the space on the ship is so small, except for some powerful crew members who can get an independent room, others have dozens of people in one room. Ling Tian naturally had his own independent room. In order for Kaido to recover better, Ling Tian brought Kaido to his room. Chapter 5 Lottery Shop. Ling Tian looked at the 320 sword skill points and 322 spirit points on his attribute panel, added 150 sword skill points to the complete collection of its Tsurugai, added 150 spirit points to spiritual arts, 40 to armament haki, 40 to observation haki, and 90 to unlock domineering haki 1 to improve domineering haki. Properties panel. Host, Dr. D. Ling Tian. Ability. Sealing device, lightning. The first seal, Gui Ning, unlocked. The second seal, Under the Moon, unlocked. The third seal, Savagery, requires a devil fruit to unlock. The fourth seal, Ba Xia, unlock the previous level to view the unlocking method. Fencing. Complete works of one sword style, LV3, 200 sword skill points are required to unlock the next level. Complete collection of 2 swords, not unlocked, need to have a second supreme sword or a weapon higher than the supreme sword to unlock. Spiritual skill, LV3, 200 spiritual points are required to unlock the next level. 3 colors domineering. Armament haki, LV2, requires 80 spirit points to unlock the next level. Observation haki, LV2, requires 80 spirit points to unlock the next level. Overlord haki, LV2, 120 spirit points are required to unlock the next level. Sword skill points, 170, 5 sword skill points can be obtained by swinging the sword times a day. Spirit points, 2 spirit points for each hour of training. Note: the time spent swinging the sword is also counted as training time. Lottery shop. Number of draws available, 1 draw per day. The draw pool is divided into bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and purple gold from low to high. The probability is, bronze, 63.9%, silver, 20%, gold, 10%, platinum, 5%, diamond, 1%, purple gold, 0.1%. A gold will be drawn once in 10 consecutive draws, a platinum will be drawn once in 50 consecutive draws, a diamond will be drawn once in 100 consecutive draws, and a purple gold will be drawn once in 1000 consecutive draws. Ling Tian looked at the instructions for the number of draws and clicked on the draw shop. Lottery shop. Bronze, some ordinary items, which are meaningless for improving your strength. In addition to drawing lots, you can also use 10 spirit points to purchase them. Silver, a miscellaneous collection of items. They may be useful for improving your strength. Let's see how your luck is. Gold, an item that increases your strength by 100%. How much it increases your strength depends on your luck. Platinum, an item that increases strength 100%. The item drawn will increase the user's strength to the level of a future Shishibukai, or at least to the level of a future buggy. Diamond, an item that increases strength by 100%. The item drawn will increase the user's strength to the level of the 4 emperors in the future. Purple gold, an item that increases strength 100%. The item drawn can enable the user to reach the limit of strength in this world. Punching the 5 elders and kicking I'm is no problem. Fuck! Ling Tian shouted, and everyone on the Rock's pirate ship heard it. What's wrong with that kid? Why is he shouting so loudly all of a sudden? Newgate was so frightened when he heard Ling Tian shout fuck, that he almost dropped the rum in his hand. Ling Tian didn't know all this. He only knew that as long as he survived for 3 years, he would be able to punch the 5 elders and kick I'm. Ding, it is detected that the host has a chance to draw a lottery. Do you want to draw a lottery? Since the host can get at least gold level items in the first draw. Lottery. Ling Tian thought about it and decided to draw the lottery once. At least this time there was a gold level guarantee, which was not too bad in terms of both reason and emotion. If he could draw platinum or diamond, he would make a fortune. A roulette wheel appeared in front of Ling Tian. This roulette wheel had 4 areas. Gold occupied 4/10 of the roulette wheel, platinum occupied 3/10 of the roulette wheel, diamond occupied 2/10 of the roulette wheel, and purple gold occupied only 1/10 of the roulette wheel. The pointer on the roulette wheel started to spin rapidly, and then slowly stopped. Ling Tian's heart began to beat rapidly when he saw the pointer was about to stop at the purple gold. Can I punch the 5 elders and kick him today? Just as Ling Tian was thinking this, the pointer turned between purple gold and gold, and Ling Tian clearly saw that the proportion of the pointer on gold was a little bit more than that on purple gold, just a little bit. Do not! Ling Tian screamed in despair. Pong! With a bang, a freshly opened bottle of rum outside the deck fell to the ground and broke into pieces. Newgate couldn't help but twitch his mouth when he saw this scene. He had just opened a bottle of rum when he heard Ling Tian shouting. And the rum fell to the ground. In Ling Tian's room, the roulette wheel emitted a golden light, and a huge mace appeared in front of Ling Tian. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the item Thunder Mace. Ling Tian's mouth twitched as he looked at the mace that appeared in front of him. Does the system know that Kaido's mace is broken? Ling Tian looked at the mace in front of him and checked its properties. Thunder Mace, a mace made of special metal that has the ability to induce lightning. The hardness of this mace is the hardest in the world of pirates, and it will not be damaged no matter what kind of damage it receives. Ling Tian looked at the hardness of the mace and suddenly wanted to use lightning to try to see if he could cut the mace. After all, both of them were products of the system. However, this idea was suppressed by Ling Tian as soon as he had it. At the same time, at the Navy headquarters, the Rocks pirate ship is now heading towards God's Valley. Go notify Garp who is near God's Valley and ask him to stop Rocks. We must not let Rocks harm the pregnant celestial dragons in the Valley of the Gods. Kong Gukong said to Zhang Guo while looking at the report in his hand. The Valley of Gods is where the celestial dragons get pregnant. Although Marijoa is safer, there are too many slaves there, and many slaves died in Marijoa. Many celestial dragons believe that getting pregnant in Marijoa will affect the babies in their bodies, so they built a place in the Valley of Gods for celestial dragons to get pregnant. I understand Marshal Kong, I will inform Garp right away. Sengoku also knew the seriousness of the matter, so he replied to Cyborg Sora and went to inform Garp. On Garp's side, he was chasing Roger. Looking at the Roger pirates approaching, Garp laughed. Ha 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 ha, Roger, just surrender. I will never let you escape. Vice Admiral Garp, your call. A Marine said while holding a Den Den Mushi. This Den Den Mushi is a special Den Den Mushi that is in contact with Sengoku. Generally, Sengoku will only use this Den Den Mushi under special circumstances. Garp took a look at the Den Den Mushi and picked it up. What's wrong, Sengoku? Garp only hoped that Sengoku was hitting this Den Den Mushi because he couldn't get through to his Vice Admiral's exclusive Den Den Mushi. After all, he didn't want anything big and troublesome to happen. But unfortunately, Garp was wrong. This time, Sengoku was fighting the Den Den Mushi because he was in big trouble. Garp, now I have an important task for you to do. Den Den Mushi, who had transformed into a Sengoku-style figure, spoke. What's up? Garp picked his nose and walked with all his heart. Be serious, Garp, this matter is very serious. Sengoku heard Garp's careful shouting. Listen carefully, Garp, the Rocks pirates are sailing towards the Valley of the Gods. The Marshal speculates that Rocks' target is the celestial dragons in the Valley of the Gods. So the Marshal asked you, who is closest to the Valley of God, to stop Rocks. You must stop Rocks by any means necessary. If possible, you can cooperate with the Roger pirates. I believe the Roger pirates will not sit idly by. Sengoku gave Garp advice as he explained the mission to him. Tisk, you actually asked me to protect those rubbish of the celestial dragons. When Garp heard that Sengoku actually asked him to protect the celestial dragons, he couldn't help but curl his lips. Garp, I know you don't want to protect the celestial dragons, but you have to go this time. You should know what the consequences will be if the celestial dragons are killed in the Valley of the Gods. I see. After saying that, Garp hung up the Den Den Mushi. Garp also knew the seriousness of the matter. If Rocks were allowed to kill the celestial dragons in the Valley of the Gods, people in this world would follow Rocks' example, and then those countries that were oppressed by the celestial dragons would rise up and attack him. I'm afraid that by then, as long as the celestial dragons leave Marijoa, they will be killed immediately. Although the celestial dragons are usually protected by CP, there is no guarantee that some powerful people will attack the celestial dragons. Full speed ahead, we're heading to Roger's pirate ship. Garp gave the order. Garp knew that he could not stop Rox by himself. So he planned to cooperate with Roger. After all, Sengoku said that he could cooperate with Roger. Captain, Garp's ship has accelerated. Should we speed up? Jabba, one of the two arms of Roger's pirate group, saw Garp's warship suddenly accelerate and spoke. Ha 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 ha, no need for that. If Garp wants to start a war, let them see the strength of our Roger pirates. Roger walked to the stern and looked at the accelerating warship and laughed. Young men, prepare for battle. When the crew members of Roger's pirate group heard Roger's words, they all took fighting positions. Ha 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 ha, Roger, there's no need to be so hostile to me. Cap laughed as the warship approached Roger's Oro Jackson. Don't be ridiculous, Garp. I'm a pirate. Do you think I should greet you, the Navy, with a smile? Roger laughed and put his left foot on the railing at the stern of the Oro Jackson and spoke. Don't worry, Roger. I'm not here to fight you this time. Garp took a bite of senbei and spoke. Are you kidding me, Garp? When the Navy and pirates meet, you tell me it's not a battle. Roger spoke up when he heard Garp's words. Garp did not speak, but asked his deputy Bogart to explain to Roger that Rox was sailing towards the Valley of the Gods, and explained the consequences if Rox entered the Valley of the Gods. After listening to Bogart's words, Roger thought for a while and decided to cooperate with Garp. Although he is a pirate, he does not want riots to happen in the world. As for the other crew members of Roger's pirates, they had no objection. They would go wherever the captain went. They were the famous Roger pirates. My friends, change your course and head for the Valley of the Gods. Oh! In this way, Garp and Roger sailed towards the Valley of the Gods together. Chapter 6 Target, Valley of the Gods. What's wrong, kid? Why didn't you go to training today? Golden Lion couldn't help but ask as he looked at Ling Tian, who was in a daze on the deck. Normally Ling Tian would be training at this time, but today he did not go to training but sat on the deck looking at the sea. What? It's Shiki. Ling Tian looked at the person who came, wondering what he was thinking, and did not answer Shiji's question. What's wrong with you today? Shiki said to himself while sitting next to Ling Tian with a bottle of rum. It may be a bit uneasy these days. You know that too, Shiki. Ling Tian said with some curiosity. In the morning, Ling Tian learned from Newgate that their route this time was the Valley of the Gods of the Celestial Dragons. Ling Tian, who is familiar with the original work, naturally knows what the consequences will be if their Rox pirates go to the Valley of the Gods. In the original work, their Rox pirates were disbanded in the Valley of the Gods, and Rox was killed by Garp and Roger in the Valley of the Gods. Through what he has learned over the past few days, Ling Tian knows that the members of the Rox pirates are not united, and they only have to stay on this ship because of Rox's strength. When he first watched the anime, he was puzzled. The Rox pirates had 3 of the future 4 emperors and the great pirate Golden Lion. There was no way they should have been defeated by Garp and Roger. Now he understood. It turned out that the people in the Rox pirates didn't want to help Rox at all. They were afraid that if Rox showed signs of failure, the people in the Rox pirates would leave immediately. Yes, the rum on board is almost gone, and our goal on this voyage is to not be able to replenish supplies. Shiki took a sip of rum and spoke with some complaints. After hearing what Shiji said, Ling Tian didn't know what to say. Ling Tian ignored Shiji and walked towards the exclusive room for cotters. In the original work, the reason why Kaido could leave the Valley of the Gods as a newcomer was because of the existence of Charlotte Linlin. But now because of the appearance of Ling Tian, Kaido has no contact with Charlotte Linlin, so this time Charlotte Linlin will definitely not take Kaido with her. He had to think about how to take Kaido away when the time came. With his current strength, he might not even be able to leave the Valley of the Gods. The reason why he was able to stop the joint efforts of Garp and Sengoku last time was because Garp and Sengoku did not know his abilities, and because of the presence of Newgate and others nearby, Garp and Sengoku did not use their full strength. If Sengoku and Garp used their full strength, he would probably fall down in less than a minute. While Ling Tian was thinking, he had already walked to the door of a room reserved for cotters. There was a crescent-shaped beard painted on the door. That's right, this room is Newgate's room. He wants to find Newgate to see if he can let Newgate take him and Kaido away when the time comes. Dong dong dong. Ling Tian knocked on the door of Newgate's room. Come in. Newgate spoke in the room. Ling Tian heard Newgate's voice and opened the door and walked in. Gulala, it turns out to be Ling Tian. Newgate took a sip of rum and said to Ling Tian, "What do you want to see me for?" "Newgate, I want you to do me a favor," Ling Tian said straight to the point. "Gulala la la la, Ling Tian boy, just tell me. I will definitely help you as long as it is something I can do," Newgate said generously. "Newgate, what do you think the captain's purpose for going to the Valley of the Gods this time is?" Ling Tian did not tell Newgate what he needed his help with, but instead asked this question. "Didn't the captain say that we were going to the Valley of the Gods because there was a powerful devil fruit there?" Newgate replied. "Just because of a devil fruit, the captain is going to the Celestial Dragon's territory." Ling Tian sat next to Newgate and said, "Newgate, what do you think will happen if the captain harms the Celestial Dragon's navy or even the world government?" Newgate took a sip of his rum and said nothing. "If the captain hurts or even kills the Celestial Dragon navy, even the world government will send people to kill Rocks and all of us in the Rocks pirates who know about this." Ling Tian continued to speak to Newgate. "Well," Newgate put down his rum and said, "it seems you know it too." Ling Tian was stunned when he heard Newgate's words. "What's the meaning?" "As you said, Captain, his purpose for going to the Valley of the Gods is the Celestial Dragons. I'm afraid his purpose is to kill the Celestial Dragons and then disrupt the world. That's why I told you the destination of our ship this morning," Newgate said seriously. "I'm afraid the Navy and the world government have already sent people to station in the Valley of the Gods." Although Newgate thinks so, in fact, there are only a few CPS and Garp and Roger who are rushing to God Valley. The reason for this is that the Celestial Dragons are too arrogant. Even though the Navy already knows that the route of the Rocks pirates is God Valley and told them, the Celestial Dragons still believe that Rocks dare not attack them. So they did not accept the reinforcements sent by the world government. As for Garp, in the eyes of the Celestial Dragons, the Navy was just a dog of theirs, someone who could be called upon and dismissed at will. "So, what are you going to do, Newgate?" Ling Tian wanted to hear Newgate's plan and see how he would do it. "Let's see what the situation is. If the captain can't beat them, we'll leave immediately. If the captain can deal with them, we'll have no choice but to stay." No matter what Newgate said, he knew very well that it was wishful thinking for Rocks to deal with the world government with his ability, unless they gave Rocks their full support, but such a thing would not happen. Newgate knew very well that no one in the Rocks pirates would risk their life for Rocks, and as soon as Rocks was defeated, they would all flee for their lives. "Then if the captain is really defeated, can you please take Kaido away?" Ling Tian stated the purpose of his coming here. "Kaido? Is that the kid you coached?" When Newgate heard Ling Tian's words, he remembered the domineering kid coached by Ling Tian. "That's right. What about you?" Newgate asked curiously. "I will find a way to leave by myself, but if I take Kaido with me, I am afraid I won't be able to estimate him. After all, I don't have the same power as you guys, Newgate." Ling Tian explained to Newgate. "Really? Don't worry, kid. I agree to your request," Newgate said after taking a sip of rum. Seeing that Newgate agreed, Ling Tian talked about some plans with Newgate and then left. As for why Ling Tian didn't let Newgate take him away with him, it was of course because of the task issued by the system. Ding! The system issues a mission, the fall of the hero, follow the Rocks pirates to the Valley of the Gods and witness the fall of Rocks. Ding! The system issues a mission, Tianji Fang Fang, leave the Valley of Gods with your own strength. Because of these two missions, Ling Tian had to follow the Rocks pirates to the Valley of the Gods. If it weren't for these two missions, Ling Tian would have wanted to get off the ship halfway. Ling Tian waited for Kaido to wake up and told him about the Valley of the Gods, and told him that if anything happened at that time, Newgate would take him away. Ling Tian has been teaching Kaido Haki these days. I don't know if it was because of the last battle or because Teacher Kai is too talented, but Kaido learned armament Haki in just 2 days. After that, Kaido seemed to be cheating. One day he learned the observation Haki, and the next day he burst out with Conqueror Haki. Ling Tian could only sigh, he was indeed worthy of being called Teacher Kai. Just like that, on the 5th day, the ship of the Rocks pirates had arrived near the Valley of the Gods. "Kaido, eat this." Early in the morning of the 5th day, Ling Tian called Kaido over and took out a devil fruit and gave it to Kaido. This devil fruit is the animal type fish fruit, mythical beast type, blue dragon form that Ling Tian obtained last time. "This is a devil fruit." Kaido looked at the devil fruit in Ling Tian's hand and said quickly, "This thing is too precious. I can't use it. You should eat it, big brother. Kaido, have you forgotten what I told you before about what will happen next? Ling Tian said to Kaido seriously, you can only survive the next battle if you have strong strength. This. Kaido was still a little hesitant when looking at the devil fruit in Ling Tian's hand. Here, if you still recognize me as your big brother, then eat this devil fruit. Ling Tian saw that Kaido was still hesitating and directly stuffed the fish fruit into Kaido's hand and said angrily. Okay, okay. Kaido took the fish fruit and ate it. He also knew that only with great strength could he survive the next battle, so Ling Tian told him that Newgate would be responsible for taking him away, but if he died while leaving, Newgate would be helpless. When Kaido ate the fish fruit, his body became a little bigger. Hurry up and get familiar with this devil fruit. Ling Tian said something to Kaido and walked outside, because an island appeared in front of their pirate group, and Ling Tian also knew that they had arrived at the Valley of the Gods. Previously, Ling Tian guided Kaido in practicing haki and obtained 600 sword skill points and 600 spirit points. He spent 600 to upgrade the complete set of its sword style to LV5, and spent 480 spirit points to upgrade the armament haki, observation haki and conqueror haki to LV3, and the spiritual technique to LV4. The highest level of sword skills and spiritual arts is LV10, and the highest level of domineering is LV5, which means that his current domineering has reached the level of an ordinary brigadier general, and his sword skills have also reached the level of a lieutenant general. Of course, the vice admirals here naturally do not include Garp. Garp's strength should be considered above the admirals, but still a little short of the 5 elders. As for Im, the top ceiling combat power in the pirate world, his strength is even worse. Ling Tian even felt that even if the current Rocks pirates were united, they would not be a match for Im alone. As for how Ling Tian knew. Nonsense, of course it's just a guess. Ling Tian has never seen Yim, so how could he know Yim's combat power? Chapter 7 Ling Tian vs Rayleigh. When the Rocks pirates' pirate ship arrived at God Valley, Garp's navy warships and Roger's pirate group had already arrived at God Valley early. Ha 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 ha, Garp, are you going to stop us? Rocks stood at the bow and looked at Garp and laughed. Rocks, you want to attack the celestial dragons? This is something the world government will never allow. I will stop your plot right here. Garp also said to Rocks. Ha 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 ha, come on guys, I want to see how you can stop me. Rocks waved his hand and all the other pirates rushed out, but the other cotters did not follow. Rocks saw that the cotters did not take action and did not care. As long as he defeated Garp, he could conquer the other cotters. He had long known that other cotters did not truly follow him, but he did not care. As long as he had enough strength, they would naturally submit to him. Thinking of this, Rocks jumped in front of Garp. Why, the navy wants to cooperate with pirates. Rocks saw Roger next to Garp and taunted. Any means is worth it as long as I can defeat you. Garp didn't care as long as he could defeat Rocks, he didn't mind cooperating with Roger. He also knew that Roger was not the kind of pirate who burned, killed and looted, so he was not averse to cooperating with Roger. Rocks was fighting, while Ling Tian and his team were staring at each other with pirate leaders like Rayleigh and naval generals like Bogart. How about a fight? Golden Lion Shiki was eager to try, holding his 2 swords. Mom, Shiki, if you want to fight, go by yourself. I don't want to go with you. Charlotte Lingling said with a smile after taking a bite of cake. Tisk, that's boring. Seeing that no one else was taking action, Ski went back to the cabin and got out a bottle of rum to drink. Newgate and his men didn't want to fight with Rayleigh and his men. If Rocks couldn't beat Garp and Roger, they could run away immediately. Seeing that Newgate and the others had no intention of taking action, Ling Tian did not take action either. What he wanted was to just wait until Rocks was defeated by Garp and Roger and then leave with the main force. In this way, he could perfectly complete the system's task. Ding, the system has issued a mission. Challenge the strong, compete with Rayleigh, the vice-captain of the Roger Pirates. Complete the mission to receive 1000 sword skill points and 1000 spirit points. Tips, this task is optional. System, you actually test me with this kind of temptation. Who can resist such temptation? This is 1000 sword skill points and 1000 spirit points. It would take him a long time to achieve these through normal sword swinging and training. System, you want to get my reward for free? I will control you. Thinking of this, Ling Tian drew the knife from his waist and jumped off the pirate ship. I heard that Roger Pirate's vice-captain's swordsmanship is amazing. I would like to ask for your advice today. Why did Ling Tian go out? Newgate was a little confused when he saw Ling Tian jumping off the pirate ship, but he didn't think much of it. After all, Ling Tian asked him to protect Kaido. Newgate was thinking that Ling Tian might have some ideas of his own. Ling Tian pointed the knife at Rayleigh and spoke. Ha 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 ha, Rayleigh, the kid over there said he wants to ask you for advice, Jabba said to Rayleigh with a smile. Little boy, if that's the case, then I'll teach you a lesson. Rayleigh jumped off the pirate ship and drew his sword. Rocks Pirates, Bounty 1,000,000 berries, Speed Sword Ghost, Dr. D. Ling Tian. The sword in Ling Tian's hand was covered with a pitch-black armed color and he introduced himself with domineering aura. Ha 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 ha. Roger Pirates, Bounty 10 billion berries, Silvers Rayleigh. Rayleigh also introduced himself but did not add armament haki to his sword. Ling Tian understood upon seeing this that Rayleigh was looking down on him. Ling Tian also knew that his mere 1,000,000 berries might just be a bigger cannon fodder in Rayleigh's eyes. Its word style, Spinning Dragon. Ling Tian swung his sword forward, and a black dragon rushed towards Rayleigh. Zhong. Rayleigh blocked Ling Tian's attack with a flying slash. Under the moon, solution. Upon seeing this, Ling Tian directly unlocked the second seal of lightning, and Ling Tian's feet were immediately covered with purple armor. The second seal of lightning increases speed by 100%, strength by 50%, sword skills by 30%, and special abilities by 10%. This allowed Ling Tian's speed to reach a level that was enough to keep up with Rayleigh's. Seeing the aura emanating from Ling Tian, Rayleigh couldn't help but become a little serious. He felt a hint of threat from Ling Tian. Itoryu, sword return. Ling Tian himself moved at high speed, slashing at Rayleigh with all kinds of attacks. But Rayleigh just moved his body slightly to avoid Ling Tian's attack. This was the result of the use of advanced observation haki. One sword style, Devil Locking Sword. Ling Tian roared when he saw that Rayleigh dodged his attack by just moving slightly. Dark red chains tied up Rayleigh and countless flying swords stabbed at Rayleigh. What a weird ability, boy, are you a devil fruit user? Rayleigh looked at the dark red chains that bound him and spoke. Who knows? Ling Tian shouted back, watching the countless flying swords stabbing towards Rayleigh. Boom! An invisible energy shattered the flying sword that was stabbing at Rayleigh and the chains that bound Rayleigh. Ling Tian felt this energy and instantly understood that it was the domineering aura of the king. As expected of the vice-captain of the Roger Pirates, he even uses this one in a million conquerors haki. Ling Tian praised Rayleigh, and then a similar energy burst out from Ling Tian's body. This is... Rayleigh was also shocked. He couldn't imagine that a member of the Rocks Pirates, whom he had never heard of, actually had the temperament of a king. I didn't expect this kid to have the domineering aura too. Cap's deputy Bogart was also a little shocked. I didn't expect this kid to hide so deeply. Golden Lion couldn't help but be slightly shocked after taking a sip of rum. Gulala, Ling Tian really gave us a big surprise. Newgate looked at Ling Tian and laughed. Everyone present had their own changes. Boy, you've been fighting for so long, it's my turn now. Rayleigh clenched the knife in his hand, swung it down with the blessing of armed color, and a huge black slash attacked Ling Tian. Spiritual skills, assistance, sword skills blessing. This move can increase sword skills by 50%. The knife in Ling Tian's hand also became darker. This was the result of Ling Tian using all his strength to activate the armament haki. Seeing this, Ling Tian used all his strength to activate the ability that could amplify his sword skills. One sword style, Starry Sky. Countless sword lights gathered into a huge slash, which collided with Rayleigh's slash and produced a powerful impact that spread around. Boom! The two slashes cancelled each other out, leaving a huge crater in between. P.S. Because the author felt that the protagonist's combat power was too weak when fighting against Golden Lion, Garp, and Sengoku in the previous part, he made some modifications. The modifications were made in the first chapter when the protagonist fought against Golden Lion. Chapter 8, The Giant Knife. Boy, it seems that your swordsmanship is pretty good. Rayleigh couldn't help but praise Ling Tian as he looked at the deep pit in front of him. Ling Tian saw that the sword skills he had put all his strength into could only offset a random attack from Rayleigh with the armament haki. Rayleigh, next is my strongest move. If you can take it, you win. Ling Tian looked at Rayleigh with serious eyes and said. Oh, then let me see your strongest move. Rayleigh became interested instantly when he saw Ling Tian say this. Ling Tian put the knife in his hand back into the scabbard. Its sword-style final secret flowing light. This is the strongest secret of Itoryu. There are 3 sets of secrets in the complete collection of Itoryu, and this one is the strongest one. Ling Tian drew out the knife from his waist. Although it looked very fast, it felt very slow to everyone. Boom! I saw a vortex appear in the sky, and a huge knife emerged from the vortex. This is... Rayleigh said in shock as he looked at the huge knife. Not only Rayleigh, but everyone around was shocked. That huge knife was even bigger than the entire Valley of Gods. With this blow, not only Rayleigh, but everyone in the Valley of Gods will die here. Ling Tian boy! Newgate shouted at Ling Tian. Ling Tian naturally knew what the consequences would be if this sword came down, but this was the first time he used this move, so he could only try his best to control the huge knife from falling. Everyone joins in. Newgate noticed Ling Tian's condition and immediately spoke to the other cotters of the Rocks Pirates. Newgate saw Ling Tian's condition, and naturally everyone else saw it too, so no one objected. Not only the people from the Rocks Pirates, but also the Roger Pirates and the Navy, anyone with a little bit of strength took action. Then all kinds of attacks were directed towards the huge sword. Click! But even so many attacks only made a crack in the huge knife. After all, this is the strongest attack in the entire sword style given by the system. Although it has not yet exerted its strongest power, it is only the attack power that is not good, and the defense power has begun to max out. Boom! A bolt of lightning burst out from a distance and instantly shattered the huge knife. Marijoa, 5 Elder Stars. Was it Lord Yumo who took action just now? One of the 5 elders holding a sword looked in the direction of Im and spoke. It seems so. That direction is the Valley of Gods. Another of the 5 elders with a mustache looked in the direction of the Valley of the Gods and replied. Did something happen in the Valley of the Gods? The curly-haired 5 elders also murmured. Valley of the Gods. What was that move just now? Shiki looked at the place where the lightning came from and swallowed his saliva. The others ignored Shiki, and Newgate jumped directly off the pirate ship and came to Ling Tian. Ling Tian used up all his strength in using this move. Now the man was kneeling on the ground. If it weren't for the lightning in his hand, Ling Tian would have fallen down long ago. Ling Tian, are you okay? Newgate supported Ling Tian and spoke. It's okay, I just ran out of energy. Ling Tian did not tell Newgate about his specific situation. In fact, in addition to exhausting his physical strength, he also consumed a lot of vitality. Ling Tian estimated that if he used it 3 or 4 more times, he would die from exhaustion of vitality. Boy, I lost, Rayleigh said as he looked at Ling Tian who was supported by Newgate. Admitted it. Ling Tian smiled slightly. Ding, congratulations to the host for completing the task and obtaining 1000 sword skill points and 1000 spirit points. When Ling Tian heard the system's voice, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. At least my vitality was not wasted. Properties panel. Properties panel. Host, Dr. D. Ling Tian. Ability. Sealing device, lightning. The first seal, Gui Ning, unlocked. The second seal, Under the Moon, unlocked. The third seal, Savagery, requires a devil fruit to unlock. The fourth seal, Ba Xia, unlock the previous level to view the unlocking method. Fencing. Complete works of one sword style, LV5, 800 sword skill points are required to unlock the next level. Complete collection of 2 swords, not unlocked, need to have a second supreme sword or a weapon higher than the supreme sword to unlock. Spiritual skill, LV4, 400 spiritual points are required to unlock the next level. 3 colors domineering. Armament Haki, LV3, requires 160 spirit points to unlock the next level. Observation Haki, LV3, requires 160 spirit points to unlock the next level. Overlord Haki, LV3, 240 spirit points are required to unlock the next level. Sword skill points, 1170, 5 sword skill points can be obtained by swinging the sword times a day. Spirit points, 1122, 2 spirit points for each hour of training. Note, the time spent swinging the sword is also counted as training time. Lottery shop. Number of draws available, 5, 1 draw per day. The draw pool is divided into bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and purple gold from low to high. The probability is, bronze, 100%, silver, 50%, gold, 10%, platinum, 5%, diamond, 1%, purple gold, 0.1%. A gold will be drawn once in 10 consecutive draws, a platinum will be drawn once in 50 consecutive draws, a diamond will be drawn once in 100 consecutive draws, and a purple gold will be drawn once in 1000 consecutive draws. Ling Tian looked at the attribute panel and thought for a while before directly spending 800 sword skill points to upgrade the one sword flow to LV6. 640160 LV4240 LV4. Feeling the changes in his body, Ling Tian felt that he could now kill Rayleigh in seconds. Rayleigh, you're cheating, you're amazing. Although he thought so, Ling Tian did not look for a fight with Rayleigh. Ling Tian was helped back to the pirate ship by Newgate, and Rayleigh also jumped back to the pirate ship. As for Bogart ordering a marine to record the fight between Ling Tian and Rayleigh, he had a hunch that Ling Tian would never become a pirate that endangered the sea in the future. Although he thought so, Bogart did not go to capture Ling Tian. First of all, the Cotters of the Rocks pirates were here, so he might not be able to capture Ling Tian, and Rayleigh and the others would definitely not help him. Secondly, the main target now was Rocks. "Brother, are you okay?" Kaido said with a worried look on his face when he saw Newgate helping Ling Tian come back. "It's okay." Ling Tian saw Kaido's worry and smiled at him. Just as the battle on Ling Tian's side ended, the battle on Rock's side was almost over. Rocks, Garp, and Roger were all covered in blood. However, Ling Tian, who now possessed the LV4 observation haki, could clearly feel that Rock's breath was low, while Garp and Roger's breath were extremely strong. There are people with good strength around, so they can naturally feel Rox's condition. "I'm leaving first," Shiki was the first to speak when he felt Rox's presence. After saying that, he flew away, and when he left, he took away a small pirate ship. Rayleigh and the others saw this but didn't care about Ski. They wanted to prevent the navy from going back on their word after their captain fought with Rox. Mama, I'm leaving first." Zeus Charlotte Lingling also left riding on a dark cloud. "Let's go too," Newgate said to Ling Tian. "Newgate, you and Kaido go first." Ling Tian said to Newgate. "Nonsense, how could you possibly escape from them with your current health?" Newgate said angrily. "Yes, brother, come with us," Kaido also persuaded. With Ling Tian's current physical condition, it is impossible for him to escape from Garp, Roger, and others. "It's okay, Newgate, have you forgotten what you promised me?" Ling Tian said to Newgate based on the previous agreement. "Kaido, when Newgate takes you away, go and establish your own pirate group. When your pirate group becomes famous, I will come to find you," Ling Tian also comforted Kaido. Brother Kaido also knew Ling Tian's character and nodded. "When my pirate group becomes famous, you must come to me." "Well, we have an agreement." Ling Tian took out a golden bracelet and handed it to Kaido. This is the locator that Ling Tian won in a lottery. As long as Kaido carries this locator, Ling Tian can find him no matter where he is. "But now you..." Newgate still wanted to take Ling Tian away with him. "It's okay. I'll leave Newgate Kaido in your hands." Seeing Ling Tian like this, Newgate didn't say anything. He took Kaido and jumped onto a pirate ship and left. The only person who did not leave like Ling Tian was John. He was the first one to follow Rox, so he planned to stay here until the end to see if there was a chance to take Rox away. "Boy, aren't you going to leave with Newgate and the others?" Rayleigh couldn't help but speak when he saw Ling Tian staying. "Ha ha ha ha, the battle between the three strongest men on the sea is rare in a century. How can I miss such a scene?" Ling Tian said to Rayleigh with a big laugh. In fact, it was because Rox was not dead yet, so he had to stay in order to complete the system's task. Rayleigh laughed loudly after hearing Ling Tian's words. "Do you have the guts to come on board our boat and have a drink?" Rayleigh shouted at Ling Tian. "Why not?" Ling Tian said this and jumped onto the OR Jackson. In the original work, Roger's personality is similar to Luffy's, so he is not afraid of Rayleigh and the others attacking him at all. While he is on the OR Jackson, Roger and the others may even protect him and leave the Valley of the Gods. "Ha ha ha ha, you're such a courageous boy." Rayleigh threw a bottle of rum to Ling Tian and laughed. Ling Tian took the bottle of rum and took a sip. "Rayleigh, I think you should have been to the island known as the Final Island," Ling Tian said to Rayleigh. "Yes, we have been to Shuxiangxing Island, but it is not the Final Island," Rayleigh replied. "Indeed, Shuxiangxing Island is not the Final Island. If you want to go to the Final Island, you must first collect 4 pieces of read historical texts. We know, but we don't have archaeologists who can read the original historical texts, so even if we collected the original historical texts, it would be useless. One day you will find the person who will take you to the final island, Raftel. How do you know the final island is called Raftlu? It's a secret. Chapter 9 Red-haired Shanks. Tisk, if you don't want to tell me then don't tell me. Rayleigh looked at Ling Tian and suddenly felt like stabbing him. Do you know that keeping people in suspense is annoying? Either you don't say anything, or you tell me everything. However, Rayleigh thought of Ling Tian's body and had no intention of taking action. After all, if Ling Tian used that huge knife again, they might really die here. It's not that I don't want to tell Rayleigh, but if I tell you, you might not be able to reach Raftel. Ling Tian made up an excuse at random. He originally just wanted to act cool in front of Rayleigh. When Ling Tian and Rayleigh were talking, Rox had already been defeated by Garp and Roger. Rox was seen fainted in front of Garp and Roger. It looks like it's over. Rayleigh took a sip of wine and said with a smile, as expected of Roger. Garp, what should we do with Rox? Roger gasped as he looked at the unconscious Rox. He knew that Rox would definitely be handed over to the world government for handling, not because they were pirates and could not handle Rox, but because when he was fighting with Rox just now, he discovered that someone was secretly attacking Rox. So Roger understood that there must be a strong man from the world government around. Leave it to me, Rox. Before Garp could reply to Roger, he heard a voice. There was a man standing where the voice came from. He was wearing black clothes and black pants, and a mask on his face that exuded a sacred aura. When Roger saw that man appear, he knew that he was the one who had secretly attacked Rox before. You are. Garp was a little surprised to see the person coming, but also felt that it made sense. You know him, Roger said after hearing what Cap said. Roger, hand Rox over to him. Garp did not respond to Roger but said this. As a senior Navy official, he certainly knew who the visitor was. I see. Roger put Ace back into his scabbard and said something before heading towards the OR Jackson. He has been dealing with Garp for many years, so he knew that if Garp wanted to say something, he would have told him long ago. And if Garp didn't tell him, there was only one possibility, that is, the person who came was too strong. He is so powerful that even if he and Garp join forces, they can't defeat him. The mysterious man killed Rox and took his body away. The entire Valley of the Gods has become devastated by the battle between Garp and his men, and it is expected that the entire Valley of the Gods will sink to the bottom of the sea in a few days. The celestial dragons in the Valley of the Gods also suffered casualties due to the aftermath of their battle. Gentlemen, let's have a party. Roger laughed as he returned to the OR Jackson. Oh. How about it, Garp, do you want to join us for the party? Roger invited Cap to join the party. No, Roger. I still have to report the situation here to Zhangguo. Besides, I am a navy. How can I hold a banquet on a pirate ship? Forget it this time, I will definitely arrest you next time. Although Garp is usually very capable, he never takes important matters lightly. Really? See you next time then. Roger smiled, showing his crescent-shaped teeth. What? As soon as Garp returned to the warship, he left the Valley of the Gods directly. As for those celestial dragons, Garp said I am just a lieutenant general and don't have that much power. Boy, aren't you afraid of getting on my ship alone? Roger said to Ling Tian as he watched Garp leave. Ha 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 ha, I don't think the famous Roger pirates would attack me when I'm injured. Ling Tian picked up the wine beside him and took a sip and replied. Ha 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 ha, you're quite interesting, how about getting on my boat? Roger applied to Ling Tian. No, Roger, I don't belong on your ship, and I don't want to ride on a ship with someone who has only been here for a few years. Although Ling Tian thinks Roger is pretty good, his goal is to see the scenery of the entire pirate world, while Roger's goal is to reach the final island, Raftel, so Ling Tian is destined not to board Roger's ship. Ha 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 ha, do you know my physical condition? Roger laughed and said nonchalantly, he had long felt that his body was failing and he just wanted to complete his goal of sailing around the Grand Line before he died. What, Roger you? When Rayleigh and the others heard the conversation between Roger and Ling Tian, they couldn't help but worry about Roger. Hey, why didn't you tell us about this earlier? Rayleigh grabbed Roger's shoulders and said seriously. Ha 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 ha, Rayleigh, we are pirates. Isn't it normal to have a few injuries on our bodies? Roger said in a heartless manner. You bastard, Rayleigh sighed helplessly, you have to listen to me this time. We have to find a ship doctor. Okay, okay. Roger did not refute Rayleigh's words. After all, he knew that Rayleigh was doing this for his own good. But, let's start the party first. In this way, Ling Tian ate and drank for free on Roger's pirate group. Soon it was evening. Captain, look at this. A crew member of Roger's pirate group ran over holding something. Bulmalin, what are you holding in your hands? Jabba said with a smile as he looked at Bulmalin who was running over. When Ling Tian heard this, he turned his head and looked over. When Bulmalin ran closer, Ling Tian could see clearly that it was a baby in Bulmalin's arms. This is Shanks. When Ling Tian saw the baby, he instantly understood that in the original work, Shanks was picked up by Roger in the Valley of the Gods. Captain, it's a baby, what should we do? Jabba also saw the baby in Bulmalin's hands and said to Roger. It might be a celestial dragon's child, Rayleigh said after seeing it. The child is innocent, no matter who his parents are. Roger looked at the baby in Bulmarin's arms and pondered. Yoshi, how about letting this child be our crew member? We will raise this child. Roger made the decision immediately. After all, even though they were pirates, they couldn't just leave a baby alone. That's right, no matter who his parents are, the child is innocent. Rayleigh also agreed with Roger's decision. The other crew members had no objections. Since they were chosen by Roger as crew members, their personalities couldn't be too bad. That is to say, Roger, you guys are going to adopt this child. Ling Tian couldn't help but tease when he heard what Roger and the others said. Ha 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 ha, after all, you can't just leave a child alone, Roger laughed. Ling Tian held a banquet on Roger's pirate ship until midnight. The other crew members got drunk, and even Roger and Rayleigh got drunk. Ling Tian was the only one on the entire ship who had not yet gotten drunk. As for why Ling Tian was not drunk, it was because apart from drinking the bottle of wine from Rayleigh, all he drank was milk. And why didn't Roger and the others say anything when Ling Tian drank milk? That's because the outer packaging of Ling Tian's milk is exactly the same as that of rum, even the milk is transparent. Ling Tian bought this milk in the bronze lottery of the system's lottery store using 20 spirit points. One box can be obtained for every 10 spirit points. Ling Tian bought it for 2 days. To this, Ling Tian just wanted to say, I want to sit at the children's table. Alas, it has been almost a month since I came into this world. Ling Tian sat on the observation deck of the pirate ship and looked at the moon in the sky and couldn't help but sigh. Early the next morning. Hey, kid, you got up so early. Rayleigh saw Ling Tian sitting on the railing early in the morning. Nonsense, I'm not drunk. Ling Tian complained in his heart. Rayleigh, when are you planning to leave? Ling Tian did not answer Layleigh's words, but asked this question. This has to wait for Roger to make a decision. Rayleigh did not give Ling Tian an accurate answer. Fine. Ling Tian wanted Roger and the others to take him to an island called Redaria. Ling Tian received the selection task issued by the system last night. Ding, the system issues a task, the beginning of the world, go to Redaria Island and wait for the plot to begin. After completing the task, the system will upgrade all the host's abilities to the maximum level. And the host's age on Redaria will not age with the passage of time. When Ling Tian saw the task, he immediately agreed. After all, the reward this time was full power maximum level, and his age would not change with the passage of time. Ling Tian waited until Roger got up and then discussed with Roger to ask him to take him to Redaria Island. When Roger heard Ling Tian's request, he agreed without hesitation. After all, they didn't know where the final island, Raftel, was. Roger and his crew set sail at around noon, and their destination was Redaria. After several days of sailing, Ling Tian and his companions finally arrived in Redaria. When Ling Tian arrived in Redaria, he was dumbfounded. This was actually a primitive island without even a town. Rayleigh and Roger had heard Ling Tian go to Redaria before, but they did not tell Ling Tian about the situation in Redaria. Because they only knew that Redaria was an uninhabited island, they thought Ling Tian came here for something, and then left on their ship after he was done. Ling Tian was a little dumbfounded when he saw the island, but it was nothing compared to his full-level abilities. Thank you for bringing me here. We will meet again if we are lucky enough. Ling Tian said something to Roger and jumped off the pirate ship. Rayleigh and the others were also dumbfounded. Could it be that this kid wanted to settle down on this island? Hey, kid, you don't want to live on this island, do you? Roger shouted to Ling Tian. Any questions? Ling Tian was also a little confused when he heard Roger's words. Boy, are you sure? This is a primitive island, Rayleigh also shouted to Ling Tian. I know. I plan to live in seclusion for a few years. Ling Tian made up a random excuse. Okay, kid, don't get eaten by the beasts on this island, Roger teased. Don't worry, it's better to worry about your own health than worrying about me. After Ling Tian finished speaking, he suddenly remembered something and jumped back to the O.R. Jackson. What's up, kid? You don't plan to live in seclusion anymore? Roger said with a smile when he saw Ling Tian jump back. I have something to tell you. There is a skilled doctor at the entrance to the Grand Line. With him around, you should be able to live a few more years. Ling Tian just jumped back to the O.R. Jackson because he suddenly thought of Croca's ship's doctor. I see. Chapter 10 Whitebeard vs Roger. In the 1483rd year of the Haiwan calendar, Ling Tian settled down in Redaria. On the first day, Ling Tian built a wooden house that could be lived in. For drinks, Ling Tian can buy a distiller and a water purifier in the lottery shop. As for food, there are so many creatures on the island that Ling Tian has no worries at all. The day after Ling Tian arrived in Redaria, a newspaper bird flew over Redaria, and Ling Tian bought a newspaper. The headline of the newspaper read Edward Newgate forms Whitebeard Pirates. Attached to it is a picture of Newgate holding Kuroganakiri, with a man with pineapple-like hair next to him. Ling Tian recognized at a glance that it was the future Phoenix Marco. A month later, Ling Tian planted some food on Redaria. After all, there were only so many animals on the island, and he would need to live here for a long time. These animals were not enough for him to eat. Ling Tian had a newspaper in his hand with the title New Crew Members in Roger's Pirate Group and a picture of an old man with a flower on his head. In the year 1491 of the Sea Circle calendar, the Whitebeard Pirates added a powerful new crew member named Kojiki Odin. In the year 1494 of the Sea Circle calendar, a great war broke out at sea between the Roger Pirates and the Golden Lion Pirates. In the end, a huge rainstorm made the Roger Pirates win. This war was called the Battle of Edworth. Haiwan calendar year 1495. Now a corner on Redaria Island has been transformed by Ling Tian into a perfect environment. Today, Ling Tian felt that a pirate ship had landed on the island from the north and south of Redaria. An hour ago, north of Redaria. Dad, there is an island ahead. Should we go to the island to rest? A man with a pineapple hairstyle said to a tall man with a crescent shape. Gulala, in that case, let's go to the island to rest. Newgate walked to the bow and said, Sons, drive the boat over. Oh. Soon Whitebeard's Moby Dick arrived on Redaria. And to the south of Redaria. Roger, this time we must ask that guy where we can find an archaeologist who can translate historical texts. Rayleigh looked at the island ahead and said to Roger that Roger now only had 3 years left to live, and they must reach Raftel within these 3 years. Ha 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 ha, Rayleigh, there's no need to rush about this kind of thing. If God has destined us to find Raftel, then we will definitely find it. Roger laughed and said that he actually wanted to go to Ravdru, but there was nothing he could do if he couldn't find the archaeologist. His words not only comforted Rayleigh, but also comforted himself. Soon, the Oro Jackson of the Roger Pirates also arrived to the south of Redaria. Dad, we found the Oro Jackson of the Roger Pirates in the south of the island. A member of the Whitebeard Pirates who went out to scout the island ran back and shouted. Hi! As soon as the pirate finished speaking, a samurai ran towards the south of the island. Hey, Odin! Marco saw Odin running out and shouted, the guy opposite is Roger, who has the same name as his father, and he just ran out like this? When Odin ran out, Whitebeard waved his hand and ran out too. When the other members of the Whitebeard Pirates saw Dad's gesture, they also rushed out. And here is Roger. Captain Whitebeard and his men seem to be in the north of the island, and there seems to be a samurai running towards us. The Roger Pirates also discovered Whitebeard's Moby Dick. Whitebeard. Maybe this is the last time I see you, Whitebeard. The legendary samurai. As for Odin, he pulled out the 2 swords from his waist as he ran. Breath of the Beast. When Rayleigh and Jabba saw Odin running over, they also took out their weapons and prepared to fight with Odin. I can't let you get hurt. Roger saw the warriors on the opposite side and ignored Rayleigh and Jabba and just ran past them. Actually, I just want to fight. Rayleigh complained about Roger's words about not letting them get hurt. Jabba nodded beside him. Odin and Roger were getting closer and closer. Hello. Samurai. God avoids. Roger greeted Odin and then used a divine dodge to knock Odin away. Just when Odin was knocked away, Whitebeard jumped out from behind and used the Conqueror's Haki to directly cover Kusukamokari. Seeing this, Roger also used his Conqueror's Haki to wrap around Ace in his hand. Whitebeard descended from the sky and slashed at Roger with Kusugakumo in hand, while Roger also swung Ace at Whitebeard with an uppercut. However, the two weapons did not collide with each other, but were separated by an unknown energy, and a huge black spot appeared in the middle of the two weapons. This is the energy field created by the collision of domineering aura. After the collision, Whitebeard and Roger each took a few steps back. You look good, Roger. It's been many years since we last met, Newgate. Leave your belongings behind X2. Hands on. Marco yelled. Grab it. Jabba said, raising his axe. Then the two pirate groups rushed over and started fighting. However, a huge force pressed the people from both sides to the ground, and even Newgate and Roger could only move with difficulty. I say, Roger, Newgate, you two are not going to tear down the island I live on, are you? A man with purple hair and purple eyes, wearing a black and purple windbreaker with the word Ling written on the back of the windbreaker and a black knife on his waist, stood on a tree and spoke. Ling Tian boy. When Whitebeard saw Ling Tian, he was shocked and asked, what's going on? How come this kid has become so strong after just a few years? It wasn't just Whitebeard who had this idea, Roger too. When they sent Ling Tian to this island, this kid could only barely fight Rayleigh. How come he became so powerful in just a few years? Ling Tian smiled and removed the pressure he had put on them. In this way, Ling Tian stopped the two pirate groups from fighting on this island for 3 days and 3 nights. In fact, Ling Tian didn't want to do that, but what if Roger and Newgate suddenly got angry and destroyed the island? This is the only way for him to stand on top of the world. Ling Tian jumped down from the tree. Long time no see, everyone. Brat, how did you become so strong? Newgate said, touching Ling Tian's head. Hey, Newgate, I'm no longer the new guy I was before, and there are so many people here, can you please give me some face? Ling Tian complained that he was a newcomer in the Rocks Pirates, so it was Newgate who had always been taking care of him. Although he didn't know why Newgate took care of him, he was still very happy. And Newgate also touched his head every day. Before, everyone knew that he was a newcomer, so it didn't matter whether Newgate touched him or not. However, he had just shown his character as a strong man, but it was ruined by a pat on the head from Newgate. Chapter 11 Inviting Odin. Who is this guy? Marco looked at Ling Tian. Whitebeard and Roger chatting and laughing and couldn't help but ask the other crew members. The other crew members of the Whitebeard pirates were speechless. How could we possibly know if you don't even know? But soon Whitebeard and Ling Tian came over. Let me introduce myself. He was a crew member on the same ship as me. His name is... Newgate scratched his head and asked Ling Tian, by the way, what's your full name, Ling Tian? Ling Tian only told them his full name when he got on board the ship, but that was a few years ago. Ling Tian, Dr. D. Ling Tian, Ling Tian said helplessly. Yes, his name is Dr. D. Ling Tian, Newgate said to Marco, the bounty on this guy is now 10 billion berries. Because the previous battle between Ling Tian and Rayleigh was recorded by Bogart, the Navy increased his bounty to 10 billion berries. Newgate thought and suddenly reacted. Speaking of which, Ling Tian, you are exactly the same as you were then. How come you haven't changed at all? I don't know either. Ling Tian said casually, he couldn't say that he had a system. After chatting for a while, Newgate, Roger, Ling Tian and the others started a banquet. As for the ingredients and wine for the banquet, Newgate and Roger actually went to his house and took out all the food and wine he had saved over the years. Ling Tian couldn't help but twitch his lips as he watched Marco and Vista carrying out boxes of their food and wine. But Ling Tian didn't say anything. This wine tastes really good. That's right, that's right. Newgate and Roger took a sip of Ling Tian's wine and spoke. Of course, this is the wine I brewed myself, and I've only had this little bit in the past few years. Ling Tian said proudly. Stop talking nonsense, little brat, tell me how you became so strong. Newgate punched Ling Tian directly on the head. Wow, is this the iron fist of love? Well, Newgate, instead of listening to me, you should ask me what you are doing here. Ling Tian changed the subject. Nothing, our ship is just resting here, Newgate said truthfully. Really? So it's just a coincidence. Ling Tian took a sip of rum milk and said, then why did you come here, Roger? Me? We came here because I want to ask you if you know the whereabouts of the archaeologist. Roger took a sip of wine and said that he only had 3 years to live. I didn't have it originally, but when Newgate came, I had a solution. Ling Tian smiled and glanced at Newgate. What do you mean, kid? Are you saying we have an archaeologist on board? Because Newgate's goal was not to reach Raftel, he did not have any historical texts on him, which also led to him not knowing that Odin could read historical texts. Hey? It's not like there are archaeologists on your ship, Newgate. Ling Tian paused and said, if I'm not mistaken, the samurai who just fought with Roger should be a samurai from Wano country. Yes, Odin is indeed a samurai from Wano country, but what is the connection? Whitebeard was puzzled, he didn't know what the relationship between Odin and historical texts was. Didn't Odin tell you, Newgate? Say what? The historical texts were written by their ancestors in Wano country. Ling Tian said with a relaxed look. What? X2. Whitebeard and Roger were shocked. After all, historical texts have existed in this world for a long time. Everyone in the pirate world knows about the existence of historical texts. But they don't know how they come to exist. Roger, can't you take Odin with you to Raftel? Ling Tian smiled and then walked away silently, because he had already anticipated what would happen next. By the way, Roger said excitedly, Newgate, please lend me Odin for 3 years. Don't be ridiculous, Roger. Whitebeard wielded the Kusukumo sword and slashed at Roger. Roger had anticipated this situation and instantly drew out Ace's anti-sword. Odin, they are my family. A huge tremor erupted from Newgate and Roger's place. Marco and Rayleigh, who were having a banquet nearby, sensed the presence and stood up immediately. When they saw Ling Tian walking slowly towards them, they couldn't help but wonder what was going on over there. Hey, Ling Tian, what on earth happened over there? Rayleigh was the first to speak. Marco also looked at Ling Tian anxiously. It was obvious that he was also worried about Whitebeard's safety. Although they all knew that Whitebeard was very powerful, they still couldn't help but worry. Why don't you just go and see for yourself? Ling Tian did not answer Lailie's question but asked them to go and see for themselves. When Marco heard Ling Tian's words, he immediately transformed into a phoenix and flew towards Whitebeard. The rest of the Whitebeard pirates also ran over. Rayleigh also ran over with the Roger pirates. Stop talking nonsense, Roger, I will not hand Odin over to you. Whitebeard slashed at Roger with his sword again and again. Newgate, just 3 years. I promise to return Odin to you after 3 years. Roger replied while blocking Whitebeard's attack. After all, he only had 3 years to live. Hey, Baizaiji, what happened? Odin shouted at Whitebeard. Hearing Odin's voice, Whitebeard also stopped. Hey, Odin, get on my boat. Roger spoke before Whitebeard even opened his mouth. Roger, I told you, Odin is my family, I will never hand Odin over to you. Whitebeard couldn't help but get angry when he saw Roger digging up his family in front of him. What on earth happened, Baizaiji? Odin asked with some curiosity. Whitebeard didn't say anything, but looked at Roger. Roger took out a piece of paper and said to Odin. Odin, can you understand the words on this? Odin took the paper from Roger and looked at it. Isn't this the writing of our Kojiki clan? Really? Odin, come to my ship and go to Raftel with me. Roger invited again. But I'm already on Baizaji's ship. Odin glanced at Whitebeard and said to Roger. Baizaji, I also want to go to Raftel to have a look. He had a hunch that perhaps this was his mission at sea. What? Odin, do you know what you are talking about? When Whitebeard heard Odin say the same thing, he couldn't help but get furious. I know, Baizaiji, but I have a hunch. This is my mission to go to sea. I also want to go to Raftel and see why my ancestors left these words behind. Odin explained to Whitebeard. That's right, Newgate, 3 years, just lend me Odin for 3 years. Roger held up 3 fingers and spoke. Humph. Whitebeard didn't say anything but sat on the ground and turned his head away. Chapter 12, Supreme Sword 12, Ace. Goodbye, Newgate. After Odin boarded Roger's ship, Roger immediately set off on the Oro Jackson. If Roger only had 3 years to live, it would be better to set off quickly. Hey, Dad, Roger and the others left a lot of food. Marco said as he looked at the food Roger left behind to thank Newgate for allowing Odin to join Roger's pirate group. Nanny. When Newgate heard what Marco said, he turned around and saw a huge amount of food on the ground. You idiots, hurry up and send the food back. What if Odin has nothing to eat? Whitebeard said angrily, then immediately called on Whitebeard's crew to bring food back to the Moby Dick and sailed in the direction where Roger and his crew had departed. This guy Newgate left without even saying goodbye to me. Ling Tian complained as he watched the Moby Dick depart. Aboard Moby Dick. Dad, look at this. Vista came up to Whitebeard holding a box and said. This is. Whitebeard opened the box and found some wine inside, with a note inside the wine. Newgate, this is my special wine. I have only made this box in all these years. I will give it to you to try. Please drink less. This box of wine is mutai that Ling Tian bought from the lottery store. Ling Tian bought it with his last 10 spirit points. Because Ling Tian's abilities were at the maximum level in Rhedoria, Ling Tian had not trained in these years, so naturally he had no income from spiritual points. Smelly boy. Newgate looked at the note and cursed with a smile. Dad, this is the wine that brother Ling Tian gave us. Marco picked up a bottle of mutai and said excitedly, the boxes of wine that Ling Tian had used for the banquet in Rhedoria were already very delicious, and now this box given to them would be even better. Stop talking nonsense, this is a gift from Ling Tian to your father and me. Whitebeard snatched the wine from Marco's hand, put it back in the box and spoke. Dad, you are too stingy. We usually pay for the drinks when we go out. What's wrong with giving us one bottle? Marco complained that Whitebeard always took advantage of them when they went out drinking. Although Marco knew that Whitebeard was going to give his money to an island, it did not affect his complaints about this matter. Okay, these 3 bottles you guys share. When Whitebeard heard Marco say this, he felt that something was not right, so he took out 3 bottles from the box and gave them to Marco and the others to share. Oh! Marco and the others couldn't help but get excited when they saw their usually stingy father take out 3 bottles of wine to share with them. They immediately took out dozens of cups and shared them out. Since the Whitebeard pirates were not as big as they would be in the future, 3 bottles of wine were enough for everyone to have a small drink. This wine is really good, it's worthy of being brother Ling Tian's wine. Yes. Next time I pass by Rhedoria, I will ask brother Ling Tian for more. Yeah. Ling Tian, you're thinking too much. This is the last box. Rhedoria. Since Roger and Newgate left, Ling Tian has returned to his normal life. In the year 1496 of the Circular Sea Calendar, the whole world was shocked as the Roger pirates arrived at the final island, Raftel, and completed a circumnavigation of the Grand Line. The captain of Roger's pirate group is known as Pirate King all over the world. In January 1497 of the Sea Calendar, another big news shocked the world. The Roger pirates, the only group in the world to reach Raftel and complete a circumnavigation of the Grand Line, were disbanded. In June 1497 of the Haiwan calendar, Roger came to Rhedoria alone. What's wrong? It's an honor for the Pirate King to come to my island. Ling Tian sensed it before Roger's boat arrived at Rhedoria, so Ling Tian was waiting for Roger on the shore early. He was also a little curious about why Roger came to his place. Ha, what Pirate King? He's just a dying man. Roger drove the boat to the coast of Rhedoria and laughed. Ling Tian didn't say anything after hearing what Roger said. Instead, he took Roger back to his cabin and took out 2 bottles of wine for Roger. So, why did you come to me? Ling Tian sat down opposite Roger and asked. I've been to Raftel and seen what's on it, Roger said to Ling Tian, how about it? Do you want me to tell you? No, Roger, you know I'm not interested in that. Ling Tian said that he was not interested in anything about Raftel, his dream was to see all the scenery in the pirate world. Because he was a stay-at-home in his previous life and hardly ever went out, Ling Tian set this dream after he came to the pirate world and obtained the system. Yet, Roger was not surprised to hear Ling Tian's words, because Ling Tian had refused when he invited him to board the ship. By the way, boy, why do you look exactly the same as you did in the Valley of Gods? Roger looked at Ling Tian's face and said, don't tell me you don't know. I'm not the kind of person that Newgate is. The reason why Newgate believed Ling Tian's words that he didn't know was because if Ling Tian didn't want to say it, he wouldn't ask. Well, I actually had an immortality surgery done by someone with the ability of the OP-no-mi. Ling Tian suddenly remembered the setting of the surgery fruit in his previous life and spoke to Roger. That's it, no wonder. As a great pirate, Roger had naturally heard of the immortality surgery of the Operation Fruit. By the way, this is for you, kid. Roger pulled Ace out from his waist and threw it to Ling Tian. Is this your sword? Why are you giving it to me? Ling Tian took Ace from Roger and asked in confusion. I have approached Newgate before, but that guy Newgate rejected my Ace, so I can only leave it to you. Roger took a sip of wine and continued. Ace is a good sword. He shouldn't follow a dying man like me. Since Newgate refused, I can only give it to you. Don't let Ace down, don't let my sword down. Roger took another sip of his wine. Are you going to turn yourself into the navy? Ling Tian looked at Ace in his hand and spoke to Roger. Ha 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 ha, I'm already a dying man anyway, so I might as well use my life to create a new era. You know what? We're going to Raftel too early, but I don't have time anymore. Roger took a sip of wine, a look of reluctance in his eyes. Really? You should have something else to tell me, right? Ling Tian looked at Roger and said, in the original work, Roger gave his wife Porgas de Luco to Garp's care, which eventually led to Luco's death to protect Ace. No, I don't have anything to tell you. Roger pondered for a moment and said. In this way, Roger stayed at Ling Tian's place for one day and then left. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Supreme Sword Ace and unlocking the full collection of 2 swords. Ding! The complete set of dual swords has been upgraded to the maximum level. Chapter 13 The Eve of Roger and Number 039, S Execution. In August of the Haiwan calendar 1497, another piece of news that shocked the world came from the Navy headquarters. The pirate king Goldo Roger was captured by the Navy and will be executed in Roger's hometown of Rogertown in October. P.S. At that time, in order to conceal the affairs of the D family, the world government changed Roger's name on the bounty order from Gold D. Roger to Gold Roger or Gold Roger. In September 1497 of the Sea Circle calendar, because Golden Lion Shiki did not believe that Roger would be easily arrested by the Navy, he attacked Marineford. Since Shige the Golden Lion was no match for Sengoku who had become a marshal and Garp who had become a naval hero, Shige the Golden Lion was defeated and imprisoned in the Impel Down prison. Ling Tian looked at the newspaper in his hand and thought about it before deciding to go to Rogue Town to watch Roger's execution and the beginning of the Great Pirate Era. Then Ling Tian created a physical clone and rowed a small boat towards Rogue Town. In order to complete the system's mission, Ling Tian's real body must stay in Redaria, but Ling Tian's physical clone can leave. Coincidentally, Ling Tian just happened to draw a physical clone yesterday. Advanced City Prison. Garp arrived at Impel Down on a warship. Vice Admiral Garp. Magellan said respectfully as he walked out of Impel Down. He had already received news that Garp was coming to Impel Down, so he greeted him at the gate early in the morning. Well, I'm going to go see Roger. You don't need to follow me. Cap did not allow Magellan and other Navy officers to follow him, nor did he allow his deputy Bogart to follow him. Advanced City 6th floor. Why did you turn yourself in, Roger? Garp stood in front of Roger and spoke. Garp, I don't have much time left, so I want to ask you for a favor. Roger didn't answer, but asked Cap. What? On Battle Island, my wife, Porgas de Luchu, and my unborn child. After I die, the world government will search for my bloodline at all costs. I hope you can protect him. Roger looked at Garp across from him and explained. Don't be ridiculous, Roger, I'm a Navy man. Garp said angrily. Garp, our friendship was forged through battle after battle. I believe you will agree to my last request. After saying that, Roger sat back in prison. He believed that Cap would agree to him. Garp didn't say anything and just left. October 1497, 10, Haiwan calendar. Today is the day before Roger is executed in Rogue Town. After a month of sailing, Ling Tian finally arrived at Rogue Town. There is still one day before Roger is executed, so Ling Tian plans to go to the tavern to take a look. Ling Tian opened the door of a pub at random and walked in. Ling Tian walked into the pub and found that there were many acquaintances there. Red-haired Shanks, a former member of Roger's pirate group and later one of the 4 emperors of the sea. Shanks is still a child now. Although Shanks is a child, his strength now is probably stronger than when he first boarded Rock's ship. The captain of the Whitebeard Pirates' 1st Division, Phoenix Marco. Buggy the Clown, a former member of Roger's Pirates, later one of the 7 Warlords of the Sea, and one of the 4 Emperors of the Sea. When Ling Tian came in, they did not notice Ling Tian. After all, there were so many people coming in and out of the tavern every day, it was impossible for them to just take a look at someone who came in. What's more, Marco, Shanks and others are now famous pirates in the New World. Can I sit here? Ling Tian walked to Marco's desk and spoke. Brother Ling Tian. Marco heard the voice and looked up to see Ling Tian excitedly. Long time no see, Marco. Long time no see, brother Ling Tian. Is Newgate all right? Ling Tian sat down and asked Marco. Ah, Dad is fine, but ever since brother Ling Tian gave Dad the box of wine he always complained that the wine on the ship was not tasty. Marco said helplessly. Really? I thought Newgate would stop drinking. Ling Tian said as he recalled that when Ling Tian was training in the Rocks Pirates, Newgate was always there drinking and watching him train. Brother Ling Tian. Just as Ling Tian was thinking, Shanks stood up from his seat and said to Ling Tian. What is it, Shanks? Ling Tian looked at Shanks who suddenly called him in confusion. Because Shanks and Ling Tian had already known each other at the banquet in Redaria, and Shanks saw that he could suppress Roger and Newgate and insisted on calling him uncle. As a result, Ling Tian naturally let Shanks taste his iron fist of love. I am only 29 years old, why call me uncle? Of course, this was Ling Tian's age at the time. Now Ling Tian is 31 years old. After Ling Tian's iron fist of love, Shanks started calling him Big Brother. Then Marco also called Ling Tian Big Brother after seeing this. Brother Ling Tian, is the sword on your waist Ace? Shanks stared at Ace on Ling Tian's waist and spoke. Oh, yes, this is what Roger gave me. Ling Tian said indifferently. Ling Tian didn't care, but the pirates in the tavern were shocked. Not only the other pirates, but even Marco was shocked. Ace, that is the sword of the Pirate King, Ace, one of the 12 supreme swords. However, the old saying is true, where there is wealth there must be courage. Hey, kid, hand over the Pirate King's sword. A group of pirates who didn't know Ling Tian stood up and spoke. This is the sword of the Pirate King. As long as you get the sword, you will definitely become famous on the sea in the future. Not to mention becoming the new generation Pirate King, it should not be a problem for you to become like Whitebeard. Oh, you want to steal my sword? Ling Tian didn't even look at them but spoke lightly. Cut the nonsense. As they said this, they were about to attack Ling Tian. When Ling Tian saw them attacking, he was about to kill them, but before Ling Tian could make a move, Marco blasted them out with the door using a phoenix fire. You guys think you can attack brother Ling Tian? You don't know whether you live or die. Marco walked up to the group of pirates and spoke. You are the captain of the Whitebeard Pirates' 1st Division, Phoenix Marco. Some pirates recognized Marco and shouted. Get out of here. You bastards are not worthy of taking Roger's sword. As expected of the captain of the 1st Squadron on the Newgate ship, he is really amazing. Ling Tian came out of the tavern and said. Hey hey. Marco scratched his head and smiled embarrassedly when he heard Ling Tian's compliment. Ling Tian looked at the silly grinning Marco and thought about Marco's future achievements. After thinking for a while, he took out a capsule from the system space and gave it to Marco. Eat this. Ling Tian said to Marco. This is? Marco asked with some doubt. Don't talk nonsense, eat it, it can increase your strength. Ling Tian explained to Marco. Marco swallowed the capsule as soon as he heard Ling Tian's words. This capsule was obtained by Ling Tian in a lottery. It can allow the person who eats it to gain the ability of ice. It can be regarded as an ice fruit without side effects, but it cannot turn Marco into an element. Chapter 14 Ling Tian and number 039, S Promise. After Marco swallowed the capsule, he felt changes in his body, but he didn't know what the changes were. Brother Ling Tian, what's the use of this? Marco felt the changes in his body and asked Ling Tian curiously. Not only Marco was curious, but Shanks and Buggy, who were familiar with Ling Tian, also came over. This capsule should allow you to eat the same effect as the frozen fruit, but it won't give you the ability to transform into an element. Ling Tian explained to Marco. With your current abilities, you should be able to use the power of freezing, but if you want to fully develop the power of freezing, you have to rely on yourself. Really? Marco was a little excited when he heard Ling Tian's words. Click! Marco pointed his hand at the ground, and immediately all the buildings around the tavern were frozen. Rogue Town Naval Division. Lieutenant General Garp, the buildings on X Street are frozen by ice. A Marine reported to Garp, who was stationed in Rogue Town. Ice. Could it be that Kuzan has come? When Garp heard the Marine's report, he thought of Kuzan, who had been following him all day. Kuzan was the frozen man who had eaten the ice fruit. I see. I'll go take a look. Although Garp had some doubts, he still went to take a look in person. After all, tomorrow was the day Roger would be executed, and no mistakes could be made at such a critical time. X Street Tavern. Hey Marco, when you use your abilities, at least try to control yourself. Ling Tian looked at his feet that were frozen by Marco, Shanks whose half body was frozen by Marco, and Buggy whose whole body was frozen, and hit Marco on the head with an iron fist of love. It hurts, brother Ling Tian, I didn't mean it. Marco covered his head and said a little aggrievedly, he didn't know this ability was so powerful. Stop talking nonsense and get rid of this quickly. Ling Tian raised his fist again and said to Marco. Marco saw Ling Tian's fist and immediately gathered the surrounding ice. It's so cold, sneeze. After Marco unfrozen him, Buggy covered his body. Not only Buggy, but also other civilians around him covered their bodies. Some people with weaker constitutions even fainted directly. Really? Ling Tian looked at the situation around him and punched Marco on the head with another iron fist of love. Spiritual arts, healing, group recovery. Ling Tian directly used spiritual magic to heal the civilians around him. Hey, Marco, at least look at me. It would be unreasonable if you don't give me a few 100 million berries this time. After being treated by Ling Tian, Buggy immediately flew into a rage, pointed at Marco and demanded that Marco compensate him with several 100 million berries. As expected of Buggy, he would never miss any opportunity to make money. This. When Marco heard what Buggy said, he turned his head away and pretended not to hear what Buggy said. Hey, Marco, don't think you can turn your head away and avoid losing money, my dear Barry. Believe it or not, I will go directly to Whitebeard to ask for it. When Buggy saw Marco turned his head away, his anger, which had just subsided, immediately rose again. Okay, Buggy. Shanks stopped Buggy, who was about to rush forward. Shanks, I haven't said anything about you yet. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be a power user. It's because of you that I lost the treasure. Buggy saw that Shanks actually stopped him from leaving and growled at Shanks. Yes, sorry. Shanks apologized nonchalantly. Okay Buggy. After Ling Tian treated the civilians around him, he touched Buggy's head and smiled. Brother Ling Tian, my treasure. Buggy saw Ling Tian also stopped him from leaving and said aggrievedly. Yes, I heard you. How about this, when you come to Rederia, I'll give you a bunch of treasures, okay? Ling Tian spoke to Buggy gently. In the original novel, Ling Tian quite liked Buggy. After all, he was the lucky and domineering Buggy, and now he was his younger brother. Really, brother Ling Tian? When Buggy heard Ling Tian's words, he immediately threw Shanks away, who was hugging him, and ran to Ling Tian and said. My goodness! Ling Tian looked at Shanks, who was thrown away by Buggy, and couldn't help but sigh at the miser's desire for money. In the original work, the miser Nami beat up the protagonist Luffy countless times. Ah, really, I will give you the treasure as long as you go to Rederia by then. Ah, brother Ling Tian is the best. Buggy broke into pieces and the other parts of his body flew into the sky, leaving only his feet on the ground. I say, what are you guys doing here? Just at this time, Cap came here. Hey, long time no see, Garp. Ling Tian was not surprised to see Garp coming. After all, Marco made such a big fuss, the Navy must have known about it. Garp also recognized Ling Tian, but immediately he saw Ace on Ling Tian's waist. Boy, what's the sword on your waist? This is the relic that Roger entrusted to me. Ling Tian touched the Ace Deo around his waist. Roger, meow, I'm not dead yet. Roger actually gave you that sword. Garp narrowed his eyes. What's the matter? Are you going to rob the relics that Roger entrusted to me? Ling Tian put his hands on Ace and Lightning. Once Garp made a move, he would have no choice but to draw his sword. Because he has not yet completed the system's mission, Ling Tian only has the world's top ability in Red Area, and his ability level in other places is only what he originally had. No, I don't want to steal that sword. After all, no sword is as powerful as my fist. Garp looked at his right hand and spoke. Then why are you here? I'm just reminding you not to mess around here. Ha 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 ha, I get it, it was just an accident. Ling Tian laughed. It's good to know. Garp warned Ling Tian and the others and left. To be honest, he really wanted to arrest Ling Tian and the others here, but tomorrow was the day Roger would be executed, and it was better to have less trouble at this time. After Ling Tian saw Garp leave, he also left with Marco and the others. Vice Admiral Garp, who was that just now? A Marine said to Garp. It must be said that this Marine is a brave man. He actually dared to ask Garp, if Garp's temper was like Akainu in the future, this Marine would be reincarnated. Fortunately, the Marine also knew Garp's character well enough to ask this question. Well, he's just a pirate. Compared to Roger and the others, they are nothing. Garp answered, picking his nose. Obviously, he didn't know that Ling Tian suppressed Whitebeard and Roger alone, otherwise he might have killed Ling Tian here. Although the Ling Tian here is just a physical clone. Chapter 15 Roger and Number 039, S Execution. October 1497, 10, Haiwan Calendar. Today is the day of Roger's execution. The Navy escorted Roger to the bottom of the execution platform. And then Roger walked up to the execution platform alone. At this moment the whole place was silent, everyone was witnessing the end of One Piece. Woo! Shanks and Buggy immediately sobbed after seeing Roger. Seeing this, Ling Tian placed his hands on Shanks and Buggy's heads. Shanks, Buggy, just watch. Your captain will use his life to do something great, something that will impact the world in the future. After hearing Ling Tian's words, Shanks and Buggy also looked up at Roger on the execution platform. When Roger reached the scaffold he sat down. Okay, let's get started. Roger said with a crescent-shaped smile. He laughed, he actually laughed. Roger didn't know how much shock his smile brought to someone who was still a little kid. Hey, Pirate King, where did you hide the treasure you found? A pirate who wanted to get Roger's treasure shouted to Roger who was about to be executed. Is it really in the Grand Line? You got it, didn't you? The legendary great treasure. You bastard, shut up. The executioner Marine on the execution platform shouted at the man. He didn't expect that a pirate would ask this question here. The town of Rogue is now ruled by the Navy hero Garp, so even if they knew about it, they couldn't escape. With this mentality, the Navy officer just scolded him and did not execute Roger immediately, which indirectly led to a big mistake. That unique great treasure. The pirate did not stop when he heard the executioner's scolding. One Piece. Ha 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 ha. Hearing the pirate's words, Roger on the execution platform laughed. Ling Tian was also watching from below as Roger laughed and said to Shanks and Buggy. Look, Shanks, Buggy, this is a historic moment. Your captain will use his life to open a new era. After hearing Ling Tian's words, Shanks and Buggy looked intently at Roger on the execution platform. Shanks and Buggy didn't know what was on the final island, Raftel, because Buggy happened to be sick when they arrived at Raftel, and Shanks stayed to take care of Buggy. This also resulted in Shanks and Buggy being the only two people in Roger's pirate group who didn't know what Raftel had. Want my treasure? No talking aloud. The executioners of the Navy were a little panicked when they heard Roger speak, but they were still brave enough not to execute Roger immediately. I can give you everything if you want it. Go find it, I put all my treasures there. Execution. At this moment, one of the executioners finally realized something was wrong and immediately called on another executioner to start the execution. As the two long swords pierced into Roger's body, it also represented the death of Pirate King Roger. However, the people watching Roger's execution were not sad about his death, but cheered. The executing Navy officer glanced at the people watching Roger's execution below the stage, then glanced at Roger's body, and finally realized that he was in trouble. It's over, Shanks, Buggy, you guys go first. Ling Tian said to Shanks and Buggy. Hey, brother Ling Tian, where are you? Shanks was a little curious when he heard Ling Tian actually asked them to go first. Although Shanks was still young, he knew that based on what Captain Roger said, the Navy would definitely not let the pirates in Roger Town go. Bump! A fist of love hit Shanks on the head. Children, don't meddle in adult matters. Go away quickly. I want to take Roger's body back. After all, I took his ace. It's impossible to let Roger be dealt with by the Navy even after his death. Although the original work did not mention what happened to Roger's body, given the character of the world government, it was also responsible for dissecting Roger's stone. Ling Tian didn't want Roger's body to fall into the hands of the world government. Brother Ling Tian. I see. When Shanks heard Ling Tian was going to take back the captain's body, he immediately took Buggy away. Buggy also heard Ling Tian's words, so he didn't resist Shanks. Navy, your execution is over, right? Ling Tian walked towards the execution platform step by step. Gecko Maria, who has not been hit by Kaido yet. Doflamingo, the former celestial dragon, now wears a pink coat. Hawkeye my hawk, who has not yet become the world's greatest swordsman. Crocodile, wearing a black coat, had not yet been taught a lesson by Newgate. Monkey D. Dragon is about to leave the Navy to form the Revolutionary Army, but he doesn't have the supreme slipper mark on his face yet. The pirates who would become famous in the future could not help but become curious when they saw Ling Tian come out and say such words to the Navy. What does that kid want to do? Carp was puzzled as he watched Ling Tian walk out step by step from the dark. Now that the execution is over, I want to take Roger's body away. Ling Tian spoke while standing right below the execution platform. Wow! That guy actually wants the Pirate King's body. I've never heard of this guy before, but he's so arrogant. The Navy will definitely arrest him. Ha 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 ha, maybe he went crazy after hearing what the Pirate King said. The other pirates who were watching were talking to each other, and they all thought that Ling Tian had gone crazy after hearing what Roger said. What are you talking about, kid? How can I give the Pirate King's body to you? The executioner Navy shouted at Ling Tian. Boom! The Navy officer on the execution platform fainted as soon as he finished speaking. FFFFFFFFFFFFF, Conqueror's Haki, another person who has the qualifications to become the king. Doflamingo, who was hiding in the dark, saw this scene and laughed. Other pirates who had some knowledge were also shocked. The domineering aura of a king picked out of thousands, this kid actually has the aura to become a king. Boy, did you want to ask me before you take Roger's body? Carp jumped from the darkness onto the execution platform and faced Ling Tiandeo. After seeing Garp, Long, who was in the audience, also left silently. Recently, he always felt a dull pain on his face whenever he saw Garp. If Ling Tian knew what Long was thinking, he would definitely say, your father wants to give you a better tattoo. Garp, Roger has been killed by you. I just want to take back Roger's body. Is that too much? Ling Tian pulled out Ace and Lightning and pointed Ace at Cap. That sword, could it be the sword of the Pirate King, Ace, one of the greatest swords? Hawkeye my hawk looked at the sword in Ling Tian's hand. He, who possessed the supreme sword, recognized Ace in Ling Tian's hand at a glance. A powerful swordsman. I must challenge him if I have the chance. Although Ling Tian has not made a move yet. How could Ling Tian be weak when he has Ace? Without strong power, you are not qualified to hold Ace. Chapter 16 Ownership of Roger and Number 039, S body. Kid, stop talking nonsense. I can't give you Roger's body. Then I can only rob it. When Ling Tian heard what Garp said, he jumped towards Garp with two swords in hand. Stop being so arrogant, kid. Garp directly covered his hands with armed color domineering and punched Ling Tian back. Boom! Ling Tian was knocked to the ground by Garp's punch. Tisk, I'm still a little uncomfortable with my body suddenly becoming weaker. Because when he was in Red Area, all of Ling Tian's abilities were at the maximum level, but his clone was not. Boy, with your limited strength, you dare to think of snatching Roger's body. Carp laughed when he saw that he knocked Ling Tian down with one punch. Dual sword style, secret technique, double dragon flash. Ling Tian covered Ace and Lightning with armament haki. Even when Ling Tian arrived at Red Area, his armament haki was already at the maximum level. Just in case, Ling Tian still planned to use the secret of the dual sword style. Feeling the armed color domineering in Ling Tian's hand, Garp became solemn. Steel Bone Star Crushing Fist. Pfft! Boom! Ling Tian's knife and Garp's fist collided, and Garp was knocked out by Ling Tian in an instant. Although Ling Tian's sword skills are not as good as Garp's boxing skills, Ling Tian's armament color is much higher than Garp's. Even Yim had to take 2 hits before he could escape from Ling Tian's full-level armament color. Ka! Vice Admiral Garp was actually knocked down by that kid. A Marine said in shock as he watched Garp flying backwards. Cough cough. Garp pushed away the building that was pressing on him and coughed twice. Boy, I didn't expect you to be so strong after just 10 years. Just when Ling Tian wanted to hear what Garp had to say, a huge golden Buddha appeared behind Ling Tian. Big Buddha shockwave. Oops. Ling Tian hurriedly covered his back with armament haki to block Zhang Guo's attack. Boom. The Buddha's shockwave had no effect on Ling Tian, who was covered in armed color. It's Admiral Sengoku, run. Countless pirates immediately ran in all directions when they saw Sengoku, even Hawkeye my hawk left immediately. He is not the same person who will become one of the 7 warlords of the sea in the future. He can still be arrested by the Navy now, not to mention that he is now known as the Navy Hunter. I didn't expect that a great marshal of the Warring States period would do something like a sneak attack. After the shock wave ended, Ling Tianke turned around and spoke to Zhang Guo. Although he turned around, his entire body was covered with armament haki in order to guard against any other sneak attacks from Old Six. Humph, of course I will use whatever means necessary to deal with you pirates. Sengoku didn't think there was anything wrong with his sneak attack. After all, the person he was facing had been in the Rocks Pirates. Sengoku, do you think that we pirates are evil and you, the Navy, your world government, represent justice in this world? Of course, our Navy is the justice of this world. Sengoku, who had just become the Admiral of the Navy, firmly believed this. Because before Sengoku became the Admiral of the Navy, there was the Great Pirate Rocks, and as an Admiral of the Navy at that time, he must have been chasing rocks every day. So compared to the crimes committed by the Celestial Dragons, Sengoku saw more crimes committed by pirates. Really? Then we'll wait and see. Ling Tian believes that after Sengoku experiences the Great Pirate Era, he will understand that compared to pirates, the Celestial Dragons have a greater impact on the world. It is precisely because of the homelessness of the Celestial Dragons and those who cannot tolerate the brutal rule of the Celestial Dragons and their king that they go out to sea to become pirates. Those who have been hungry and cold since childhood, and those who have little power, will want more rights after they become pirates and have enough food and warm clothes and have rights. How can we enjoy more rights? Of course, the attack was on the civilians, so that they would be terrified and obedient, and thus enjoy the same rights as kings. Stop talking nonsense, Zhang Guo, I'm going to take Roger's body away today. If you try to stop me, I'll chop you up too. Ling Tian pointed at Zhang Qiudao with ace. Although he spoke in a domineering manner, his face, which was covered in the color of armed forces, looked strange. Yes, I can let you take Roger's body away. Zhang Guo thought for a while and agreed to let Ling Tian take away Roger's body. Oh, so easy to talk to. Ling Tian was stunned for a while and said that he really didn't expect that the Warring States would really hand over Roger's body to him. But I have a request. Zhang Guo suddenly changed the subject. Tell me the story. 10 years. For 10 years, you cannot appear on the sea. No matter where you hide, you cannot appear on the sea for 10 years. Zhang Guo said to Ling Tian. Ling Tian's current strength is so terrifying that even Garp was knocked out by one blow from Ling Tian, so he has to buy 10 years for the Navy. The new generation of Navy has not yet grown up, so he has to buy 10 years for the new generation of Navy. He believed that Ling Tian would be old in 10 years, and by then a new generation of their Navy would have grown up. In such a situation of one rising and the other falling, Ling Tian in 10 years would not be able to rely on evidence at all. It's a pity that Zhang Guo didn't expect that Ling Tian would not age in these years due to the passage of time. Okay, I promise you, I won't appear on this sea for 10 years. Ling Tian agreed to Zhang Guo's request without thinking, since he had to stay in Rhedoria for a few years anyway. When Zhang Guo heard Ling Tian's words, he looked at Garp, indicating that Garp should leave Roger's body. When Garp saw the look in Sengoku's eyes, he silently left the execution platform. Then I'll take Roger's body with me. Ling Tian came to Roger's body and put Roger into the system space. Zhang Guo did not stop Ling Tian from taking Roger's body away. He believed that Ling Tian would not go back on his word. So, gonna. Ling Tian left after saying this. Sengoku and Garp returned to Marineford on a navy ship. Issuing a bounty order, increasing the bounty on Speed Sword Ghost, Docre de Ling Tian to 53 billion berries. When Sengoku returned to Marineford, he gave instructions to a marine. Yes. The marine replied. Ling Tian sighed. Ling Tian found Shanks and Buggy who had left early. "Brother Ling Tian, the captain's body." Shanks spoke when he saw Ling Tian coming back. "It's here." Ling Tian took Roger's body out of the system space. "Captain." X2. Shanks and Buggy lay on Roger's body and cried. Ling Tian did not interrupt them, but watched the scene silently. Shanks and Buggy cried for a while and then said to Ling Tian. "Brother Ling Tian, what should we do with the captain's body?" "Yes. I want to bring Roger's body back to Redaria. At least Roger's body is safer in Redaria than anywhere else." Ling Tian explained to Shanks and Buggy that he actually wanted to see if he could win a resurrection item in the system's lottery shop. After saying that, Ling Tian put Roger's body back into the system space. "Buggy, don't forget our agreement," Ling Tian said to Buggy. After saying this, Ling Tian's body turned into a puff of smoke. This is the result of Ling Tian taking back his physical clone. Chapter 17 Golden Mountain. On October 1497, 10 of the Haiwan calendar, Ling Tian put away his physical clone and returned to Redaria. "It's like this again, how come I didn't get any out of all these?" Ling Tian complained while looking at the lottery shop in front of him. In order to revive Roger, Ling Tian used up all the lottery opportunities he had saved up over the years, but he didn't win any items for revival, and all he got were some random things. However, there are still many things that can improve your strength, such as the Grace of the Sun, improved version, in the 7 Deadly Sins and Oda's ability, full counterattack, improved version. What excited Ling Tian the most was that he drew the Fountain of Life in the fairy forest. This is a good thing. It can make people immortal. Unless it is a skill like sealing, they will not die no matter what kind of damage they receive. When Ling Tian drew this thing, he drank it immediately. As for the other two things, Grace of the Sun, improved version among the 7 deadly sins, the grace granted by the Supreme God will gain more powerful power as the sun rises, and the strongest power will be released when the sun reaches noon. The system has improved it so that the body will not become petite even at night, and will not become muscular even at noon, but only when one uses one's abilities. Ling Tian doesn't plan to use this thing for the time being. He plans to see if there is a suitable person later and then give it to that person. Full counter, improved version, rebounds all offensive elements directed at you at several times the power. This ability may not be too powerful in the 7 deadly sins, but in One Piece it is almost a perverted ability. Think about it, if Ace in the original work had full counterattack, then he could have counterattacked Akainu's punch. Ling Tian also drew other abilities, but Ling Tian did not check the other abilities now. Author, I haven't thought about it yet. The next day, Ling Tian learned from the newspaper bird that his bounty had been raised to 53 billion berries. In the year 1498 of the Haiwan calendar, Buggy finally arrived in Redaria after several months. "Hey, brother Ling Tian." Ling Tian felt it when Buggy's ship arrived in the Redaria Sea, so Ling Tian was waiting for Buggy here early. "Hey, Buggy. Brother Ling Tian, brother Ling Tian. Where's the treasure? Where's the treasure you promised to give me?" As soon as Buggy arrived on the island, he surrounded Ling Tiandao. Boom! Ling Tian punched Buggy on the head. "Buggy, that's too much noise." As soon as this guy got onto the island, he immediately surrounded him and shouted. Ling Tian really didn't expect that Buggy would be so crazy about the treasure. After being punched by Ling Tian, Buggy also became quiet. "Come with me," Ling Tian said to Buggy, and then took Buggy to where he placed the gold he won from the lottery. Anyway, this gold is of no use to Ling Tian, so he just gives it to Buggy. "Okay." When Buggy heard Ling Tian's words, he immediately separated his legs and flew in the direction Ling Tian was going. Foot. Ling Tian also saw Buggy separate his legs, and then he picked up both of Buggy's legs and ran towards Redaria at a faster speed. "Follow me, Buggy. If you lose me, you won't be able to find the treasure." Ling Tian turned his head and said to Buggy in front. "Nanny." When Buggy heard Ling Tian's words, he felt unwell all over and immediately sped up and flew towards Ling Tian. "My treasure, my treasure." Buggy kept talking in his mind. Soon Ling Tian ran to where he put the gold. "Not bad, Buggy." Ling Tian looked back and saw that Buggy was not behind. I can only say that he is a worthy miser. His obsession with treasure is not comparable to that of ordinary people. "Ho ho, brother Ling Tian, where is my treasure?" Buggy flew to Ling Tian's side and lay on the ground, gasping for breath. Ling Tian looked at Bucky lying on the ground and said something strange. Didn't you fly here? Why are you still tired? Bucky also reacted after hearing Ling Tian's words. Yes, I flew here, why am I tired? Then Bucky and Ling Tian started staring at each other. Let's not talk about this, brother Ling Tian, where is my treasure? Bucky was stunned for a moment before realizing that he was here to look for treasure. There. Ling Tian walked to a big pit and pointed inside. Bucky flew over when he heard Ling Tian's words. This is Golden Mountain. Bucky screamed in shock when he saw the gold jewelry that almost filled the pit. Brother Ling Tian, are you going to give me all of these? Bucky said to Ling Tian tentatively, fearing that Ling Tian might go back on his word and not give it to him. Ah, these are all yours. Ling Tian said nonchalantly that besides these, he also had many more in his system space. These were all drawn by Ling Tian in the past few years. They were all at bronze level. Ling Tian was very upset. Even those at silver level could sometimes draw gold. What? Pat. When Bucky heard Ling Tian's words, he fainted from excitement. Ling Tian's eyes twitched when he saw Bucky fainted. It's just some gold, why is it necessary to be so excited? Looking at Bucky who had fainted, Ling Tian carried him back to the bed in his wooden hut. Night. Ling Tian was grilling some fish outside the wooden house, and he also specially made a pot of fish soup next to it. What pig's feet and where did the pot come from? I can only say that you guys underestimated how dark Ling Tian's face was. Forward. Just as Ling Tian was grilling fish, Bucky's voice came from the wooden house. When Ling Tian heard Bucky's voice, he put out the fire, picked up the cooked fish soup and walked into the wooden house. Ah, where is my treasure? Am I dreaming? Ah, no. Ling Tian heard Bucky shouting before he even entered the cabin. Bucky, you're so noisy. Ling Tian walked to the door and said to Bucky. Ah, brother Ling Tian. Am I still dreaming? As he said that, Bucky pinched his face with his hands. Oh, it doesn't hurt, I'm really dreaming. Boom. Ling Tian hit Bucky's head with his iron fist of love. You're pinching your own face. Ling Tian became angrier the more he thought about it, and then he hit Bucky's head with 2 more iron fists of love. Okay, drink this fish soup. After the fight, Ling Tian placed the fish soup on the table next to him and said. I know. But, brother Ling Tian, could you please use less strength next time? Bucky touched the 2 big bumps on his head. Stop talking nonsense. Who told you to pinch my face suddenly? Drink this fish soup quickly, and then I will give you something else tomorrow morning. After saying that, Ling Tian walked outside. When Bucky heard Ling Tian say that he would give him something tomorrow, he immediately became excited. Ah, it hurts. The excited Bucky's head immediately hit the wall, hitting the 2 big bumps that Ling Tian had hit him with. I'm really uneasy. Ling Tian sighed as he listened to Bucky yelling in the cabin. Chapter 18 Grace. The Sun. Brother Ling Tian, what did you say you would give me? The next morning, Ling Tian had not gotten up yet and it was still dark, so Bucky ran over to ask Ling Tian. In fact, he didn't want the other thing that Ling Tian mentioned. Bucky wanted Ling Tian to take him to the Golden Mountain again to get his treasure. Because it was Ling Tian who led the way yesterday, and Bucky flew so fast that he didn't pay attention to the road at all, so now Bucky has no idea how to get there. Boom. A fist of love hits Bucky on the head. Bucky, it's not even daybreak yet. But I can't sleep when I think about brother Ling Tian saying he wants to give me something. Bucky held his head and said aggrievedly. Bucky was so excited that he couldn't sleep when he thought about the Golden Mountain. You're thinking about the treasures, right? Ling Tian saw through Bucky's thoughts at a glance and complained. Hey. Bucky touched his head and felt a little embarrassed. Okay, don't think about your gold first, just follow me. Ling Tian did not tell where the gold was, but took Bucky to the coast of Red Area. What are you doing here, brother Ling Tian? Bucky looked at the sea. Bucky, do you want to become stronger? Ling Tian glanced at Bucky and asked. Become stronger? No, I just want gold. Bucky immediately objected, how can becoming stronger be as important as gold? Ling Tian was speechless after hearing what Bucky said. He could only say that he was worthy of being Bucky. So, Bucky, do you think you can protect your treasure in this ocean with your current strength? Ling Tian pointed at the sea. This one. Bucky thought for a while. I don't think so. Buggy is very clear about his own strength. Not to mention protecting his treasure in this ocean, even some powerful pirates can defeat him. So, Buggy, do you want to get stronger? Do you want to have the same strength as Roger? Ling Tian seduced Buggy step by step. Ling Tian, why do I feel like one of those charlatans in martial arts movies? Who cares? He just wants to make Buggy stronger. After all, when I leave Redaria, I will be invincible in the world, but being invincible is very lonely. Therefore, Ling Tian planned to train some more obedient younger brothers, just in case he was unable to change some things during the 10 years in Redaria. I want to have the same power as the captain. Buggy said firmly after hearing Ling Tian's words. Very good, this is for you. Ling Tian took out a ball of light and placed it in front of Buggy. This is... Buggy looked at the golden ball of light in confusion. Absorb him, and you will have power to rival Roger. I see. After hearing Ling Tian's words, Buggy absorbed the ball of light in front of him. Forward. What? As Buggy absorbed the light ball, his body caught fire and a circle of fire gradually appeared around him. Ling Tian knew that this was the result of Buggy absorbing power that did not belong to this world. The will of this world wanted to expel this power, but this power was forcibly integrated into Buggy's body. Ling Tian knew that even the will of this world could not expel this power. After all, this was a grace bestowed by the Supreme God. Not to mention how much stronger the world of the 7 deadly sins is than the world of pirates, the rules controlled by the Supreme God alone are not comparable to those of the world of pirates. Among the 7 deadly sins, the Demon King cursed Meliodas with eternal life, so the Supreme God who is opposed to the Demon King can also give people eternal life. Therefore, the sun, a blessing bestowed by the Supreme God, cannot be driven away by the will of the pirate world. What? What? The circle of fire around Buggy covered Buggy and turned into a huge pillar of fire rising into the sky. Navy headquarters. Oh no, Marshal Zhangguo, the sky. A second sun appeared in the sky. A marine woke up the sleeping Sengoku. Just as Zhangguo was about to get angry, he heard the marine's words and immediately ran outside. How terrifying! There is a second sun in the sky. Kizaru Borsellino said while cutting his nails. What on earth happened? Kinzi Kuzan looked at the other sun solemnly and said that he actually felt the breath of death in that sun. Marie Joya! Quick, ask CP0 to check it out. The 5 elders who first saw the second sun gave the order. Moby Dick! Dad, the sun, there is a second sun in the sky. Marco also looked at the second sun that appeared in the sky and said to Whitebeard. That direction is the direction of Ling Tian. Could it be that Ling Tian did it? Newgate looked at the second sun path in the direction of Redaria. Young ones, let's go to Redaria and take a look. Newgate gave the order immediately. Redaria. My goodness, Buggy absorbed the grey sun and a second sun appeared in the sky. Ling Tian looked at the sun in the sky in shock. Although he knew that the sun, the grace of the Supreme God, was very powerful, he did not expect it to be so powerful. Okay. Ling Tian's observation Haki sensed that many people were coming towards Redaria. A group of people wearing white shirts and pants and white masks on their faces were driving a boat towards Redaria. Seeing this scene, Ling Tian's mouth twitched. Aren't you CP0 an intelligence organization? Shouldn't we wear black? And you guys just drive your warships here so brazenly, do you think I'm blind? When the warship approached Redaria, a group of CP0s ran towards Redaria using the moon step. Ling Tian looked at CP0 running towards him and pulled out the 2 knives from his waist. I'm sorry, I promised Zhangguo that I would not appear on the sea for 10 years, so in order for me not to break the contract, please stay here. One sea, one sword, one world. Merge all the seas and swords into a great world. Purge the world of evil. Kill all evil. Use the sword in your hand to transform into a posture of judgment. Use the sword in your hand to determine the good and evil in your heart. Dual sword style, secret technique, sword world judgment. Boom. Pft. Click. The entire Redaria Sea, along with CP0's warships, was divided into 4 parts from the sky to the bottom of the sea. Even the seabed was cut into 4 abysses. What a terrifying slash! A CP0 who was still alive couldn't help but speak as he looked at the huge slash from the seabed to the sky. Get it? Looking at the CP0 who had all been buried at the bottom of the sea, Ling Tian said with satisfaction. Marie Joya. 5 elders, send out to check on the CP0 of the second son. They have all lost contact. ACP0 who was in charge of the investigation said to the 5 elders in front of him. You're useless. The world government has spent so much resources training you, but you can't even do such a small thing. The god of law, Topman Vouchuri, cursed. Go ask the navy to check it out. The god of environment, Saint Marcus Maz, spoke. Yes. When the CP0 heard what the god of environment said, he immediately went to inform the navy. Chapter 19 Lost Hair. After a full hour, Bucky finally absorbed the grace of the Sunday. How's it going, Bucky? Ling Tian sat aside and looked at Bucky. How should I put it? Brother Ling Tian has improved a little bit. Bucky was a little puzzled. He clearly had great power just now, but after the fusion was completed, he only felt that his body's strength increased a little bit. Well, that's normal. Ling Tian spoke after hearing Bucky say that he only improved a little bit. After all, Grace Sun will slowly improve with the appearance of the sun. It was only morning and the sun was only half out, so the improvement that Grace Sun brought to Bucky was not very obvious. Bucky, come here. Ling Tian waved at Bucky. When Bucky heard Ling Tian's words, he trotted to Ling Tian's side. Bucky, listen to me. The power I just gave you is a grace from the Supreme God. Sun. Ling Tian explained to Bucky. What is the Supreme God? Bucky asked curiously after hearing Ling Tian's words. Ling Tian was also speechless when he heard what Bucky said. Why is your focus so strange? Shouldn't you be curious about your abilities? The Supreme God is the leader of the angels. Although Ling Tian was speechless about Bucky's strange focus, he still explained it to him. Angels? Are there really angels in this world? Bucky said in surprise. He knew that there was a sky island in this world. According to some rumors, angels lived on the sky island. But Bucky, who had been to Sky Island, of course knew that there were no angels on Sky Island. Boom! Stop talking nonsense and listen to me carefully. Ling Tian saw that Bucky's attention had shifted to other strange places again, so he directly hit Bucky on the head with his Iron Fist of Love. By the way, he's been using the Iron Fist of Love to hit Bucky and the others lately. It hurts, I know. Listen carefully, Bucky. The Supreme God's grace, Sun is an ability that increases your strength with the appearance of the Sunday. When it's noon, you will be able to unleash your strongest power, but this time is only 1 minute. For 1 minute at noon you have the most powerful force in the world. Ling Tian explained the ability of Grace Sun to Bucky. In the original work, Escanor at noon couldn't even defeat Meliodas who had entered annihilation mode. What is Meliodas in annihilation mode? He is in existence below the Demon King, and even the Demon King is a little afraid of him. In the world of pirates, it is definitely top-level strength. The sun? Then, what about at night? When Bucky heard Ling Tian say that the power of grace and sun can only be unleashed when the sun appears, he couldn't help but become curious. I said. Okay. Damn, Bucky is focusing on the right thing this time? Cough cough. In order to hide his embarrassment, Ling Tian coughed and then explained to Bucky what happened in the evening. If it is night, you will not be able to use the power of Grace Sunday. You can only use the power of your original split fruit. Nanny, how can I say I am still a weakling at night? Bucky said with a look of despair that he originally thought he could be like Captain Roger, but he didn't expect that he could only be like Captain Roger in the morning. Oh, I forgot to tell you. When it's past noon, your abilities will gradually weaken, and by nightfall, they will be completely unusable. After hearing Ling Tian's words, Bucky fell to the ground completely. He was wondering whether he should be arrogant during the day and hide at night, or just stay hidden like before. Get up, Bucky. From now on, I will help you adapt to the power of Grace Sunday. To be on the safe side, Ling Tian still planned to train Bucky. After all, Bucky had just gained his abilities, and there was no telling what kind of disaster he might cause in the future. After hearing Ling Tian's words, Bucky also stood up. He also knew that he had just acquired the ability and needed to slowly adapt to it. Yoshi, then come on. As soon as Bucky stood up, he activated the power of Grace Sun, and then the muscles on Bucky's body grew visibly bigger. Oh, that's amazing, brother Ling Tian, look. My muscles got bigger. Bucky saw the changes in himself and excitedly ran to Ling Tian to show off his muscles. Look, my muscles. Such big muscles. I am awesome, right? Look, brother Ling Tian. Ha 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 ha, please call me Captain Buggy from now on. Ha 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 ha, I'm already invincible. I don't care about the navy or pirates. As long as I, Captain Buggy, meet them, I will kill them all. Ha 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 ha. Boom. Stop talking so much, Buggy. It's so noisy. Ling Tian saw that Buggy used the power of Gray's Sun to make his muscles bigger, and Buggy, who was like a fool, couldn't bear it anymore. Just hit him with an iron fist of love. Really, brother Ling Tian really doesn't know how to appreciate. Buggy was hit by Ling Tian with the iron fist of love and then he squatted on the ground holding a branch and drawing circles on the ground. Okay, Buggy, take this. Ling Tian said as he threw a notebook to Buggy. This was written down when Ling Tian drew Gray's Sun based on the ability he had seen Escanor use in his previous life. What's basically written here are Escanor's moves. What's this? Buggy took the notebook and started reading. The Sun without mercy. Holy Sword Escanor. Holy Lance Escanor. The One, available only at noon. The One Ultimate, when it reaches noon, it burns life and uses an ability that exceeds the limit of grace and the Sunday. For the next few days, Buggy will stay in Redaria to practice the power of Gray's Sunday. There was nothing wrong with the next few days, but on the first day of practice, Ling Tian didn't pay attention to the time. As a result, at noon, the power of the Grace and Sun in Buggy's body went out of control and directly set Ling Tian, who was watching Buggy's training, on fire. Then, everyone now sees Ling Tian with a bald head that looks like a night pearl, watching Buggy train. My lush purple hair. When he saw his purple hair being burned by Buggy's uncontrolled ability, Ling Tian directly pulled out Ace and Lightning and slashed at Buggy. Naturally, Buggy, who possessed the fracture fruit, was fine after being chopped by Ling Tian for a while. This was also thanks to the fact that Ling Tian did not cover himself with the armament haki. Chapter 20 Whitebeard and number 039, S Arrival. Brother Ling Tian, can I take a break? Buggy spoke to Ling Tian while holding a stone that was several times bigger than himself. He has been lifting the stone for almost 3 hours, and his hands are now numb. Stop talking nonsense. If you keep talking, I'll let you lift for another 5 hours. Ling Tian immediately became angry when he heard Buggy's plea for mercy. There are 2 reasons why Ling Tian did this. The first is because in the original work, Gray's Sun consumes magic power, but Buggy does not have magic power, so it consumes Buggy's physical strength instead. Moreover, Ling Tian discovered that as Buggy's physical strength improved, he could also slightly use the power of Gray's Sun at night. At first, Buggy was completely unable to use the power of Gray's Sun after the sun went down. But later, because Buggy burned Ling Tian's hair, Ling Tian punished Buggy with training, and after that, Buggy was able to use the power of Gray's Sun within 10 minutes of the sun going down. Ling Tian thought about it and understood. The ability of Gray's Sun is to consume magic power. Among the 7 deadly sins, Escanor can only rely on the sun to possess magic power during the day. But there are exceptions. For example, in the original work, Escanor directly relies on the sun in his heart to obtain magic power at night, so the ability of Gray's Sun cannot be used necessarily when there is sun. It's just because it becomes stronger when it has the sun. As for the second reason, it was of course because of Ling Tian's hair. Damn it, it's your fault for not being able to control yourself and burning my hair. Hey? Why are Newgate and the others here? Ling Tian sensed that Newgate's Moby Dick had entered the waters of Redaria. Okay, Buggy, let's stop training for now, we have guests coming. Ling Tian said to Buggy, and then ran towards the coast where the Moby Dick was going to land. When Buggy heard Ling Tian's words, he threw the stone aside and muttered. Isn't it just burning your hair? While muttering to himself, Buggy flew in the direction Ling Tian ran. That's right, it's flying, and it's not the kind that requires separating the legs. If you look closely, you can see that Buggy is wearing a ring with 2 feathers on his left index finger. This is the wind ring given to him by Ling Tian. It is the equivalent exchange module in my world and can allow people to fly. On the coast of Redaria, the Whitebeard pirates Moby Dick landed on the shore. Before the Whitebeard pirates crew members even got off the ship, Ling Tian jumped directly onto the Moby Dick. I say, Newgate, what are you doing here again? Ling Tian directly asked Newgate why he came to Redaria. I'm here because... Just as Newgate was about to answer Ling Tian's question, he saw Ling Tian's head that looked like a night pearl. Gulala, where's your hair, Ling Tian? Not only Newgate, but also Marco and Vista saw the night pearl on Ling Tian's head. Ha 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 ha, brother Ling Tian, are you planning on becoming a monk? Ha 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 ha. With the opening of New Gate they laughed without hesitation. SHH. Boom. Listening to the laughter around him, Ling Tian teleported and made everyone in the Whitebeard pirates except Whitebeard himself taste Ling Tian's iron fist of love. Then everyone in the Whitebeard pirates, except Whitebeard, covered their heads. Smile, smile again for me. Ling Tian pulled out the 2 knives from his waist as he spoke. Damn it, I just taught Buggy a lesson, and I finally forgot that he has no hair and you guys are laughing. Seeing Ling Tian pulling out both knives from his waist, Marco and the others immediately covered their mouths with their hands. After all, they knew that their father could not beat Ling Tian. Although they knew that Ling Tian would not kill them, punishment was inevitable. Ling Tian saw Marco and the others covering their mouths and nodded with satisfaction, then put the knife in his hand back into the scabbard. Brother Ling Tian, wait for me. Bucky shouted from behind. Red Nose? Why are you here? Marco asked when he saw Buggy looking confused. Marco, who are you calling Red Nose? When Buggy heard Marco calling him red-nosed, he immediately grabbed Marco's collar and said angrily. Sorry. Marco looked at Buggy and apologized nonchalantly while pulling at his collar. What's that expression on your face, Marco? It's the same as Shanks'. Okay, Buggy, don't use your ability again. If you burn Newgate's ship, you'll be on your own. Ling Tian looked at Buggy and reminded him when he was about to use the power of Grace Sunday. When Buggy heard Ling Tian's words, he instantly became convinced, even though Ling Tian had told him that by noon he would have the world's top strength. But facing Whitebeard Buggy, who is now known as the strongest man in the world, he still feels a little bit obedient. Newgate, what exactly are you doing here in Red Area? When Ling Tian saw that Buggy had come to his senses, he asked Newgate the same question as before. What are you doing? It's because a second sun appeared in the sky before. I saw it was coming from this direction, so I guess it was you who did it. Newgate said. If I say I don't know, would you believe me? Ling Tian said mischievously. Boom. Stop talking nonsense and speak quickly. Newgate directly hit Ling Tian on the head with his iron fist of love. Puff. X2. After experiencing Ling Tian's iron fist of love, Buggy and Marco immediately covered their mouths and laughed. When Ling Tian saw that Buggy and Marco were actually laughing at him, he glared at them. When Buggy and Marco saw Ling Tian's eyes, they immediately put on normal expressions. Yes, it is like this. I was indeed the one who created the second Sunday. The reason why the second sun appeared before was because Buggy absorbed the power I gave him. Ling Tian simply explained to Newgate. After hearing Ling Tian's words, Newgate understood. Marco had shown him his freezing ability when he came back from Rogue Town. Marco also explained to them that this was the ability Ling Tian gave him. Is there anything else? Gulala, there's nothing else to do. However, Ling Tian, do you still have the wine from before? Give me a few boxes. Newgate said that finding the reason for the appearance of the second sun was only secondary, and finding Ling Tian's wine was the main reason for Newgate to come to Red Area. Ling Tian really didn't expect that Newgate was actually thinking about his wine. Didn't I tell you before? That's the last box. Ling Tian spoke to Newgate, saying that even though he had won a few boxes in the previous lottery, he was planning to keep them for future use to build good relationships. Although it doesn't matter if he doesn't need to build good relationships given his abilities, Ling Tian, who was born in the Red Country in his previous life, of course adheres to the principle of not using force if possible. End of the chapter. Like and subscribe for more videos.